60 million people. I don't know the actual number, but I can say confidently it's so very rare. So you probably don't have to worry about dating a murderer or dating a potential murderer, entertaining deadly urges who are then going to try and successfully pull you into their disgusting world, convince you to abandon your morals and join their darkest side.
Here we go.
Carla,
boy. Let me.
You met one of these monsters.
Over here.
Right? You beat those odds.
Let me grip.
And when she found out who this monster was, she was seemingly totally cool with it. And she ended up helping indulge Paul in committing some of the most disgusting sexual acts.
The red fox is on the prey.
She'd offer in what has to be one of the sickest sort of attempts to keep your partner sexually interested and keep them from leaving you, her own sister's virginity as a fucking Christmas present. That offering would lead to more horror than sibling rape. We get to know Paul and Carla in today's timeline, beginning with their births. Let's first jump ahead and talk quickly about how this pair came to be murderous maniacs.
That's pretty
Let's prime ourselves for what's to come. So I've just compared them to Fred and Rosemary West.
He was not following, but
incest and abuse, horror-filled shit show kind of childhoods that Fred and Rosemary had. No bragging about rapes, no sexual assault by parental figures, at least none that we know of. And I do feel like these two would have blamed what they did on childhood abuse if it had happened. Paul's dad, definitely a huge fucking creep. His mom, psychologically abusive, but not West-level depravity. Paul's father was arrested for molestation in 1975 when Paul was 10 or 11, fondling a girl whose age never revealed by the court, as far as I can tell. There were rumors that he'd also molested Paul's older sister, Debbie. No evidence he ever molested Paul. It seemed like his son would be later. He was only sexually interested in girls. Could there have been a genetic link between Paul and his dad that predisposed both men towards pedophilia? No, absolutely not in this case, because Kenneth was not Paul's biological father. In fact, he would be told when he was 16. That revelation, coupled with learning...
How's every little thing?
I stared. I hadn't expected it to work.
How's every little thing, Thrui? How's every little thing? What am I looking for? Kofi. Gotta go to the Kofi. Gotta go to the Kofi and then make sure that I'm doing it correctly. How's every little thing? Hope everything's been good. Let's go. Acro Clyde Hobbs. That's what like him. Smiling normally with a hoodie on, strands of hair do show at all. Face is back left eye. Alright. There we go. Okay, come on. Get bad.
My Big Red had stolen my phone, but now we could head straight for him. I called
Kofi,
my boss.
yeah.
He answered. Hey Todd.
Yeah, you know my Kofi.
How did the relocation go? I hope that... Hank, I interrupted. I have him. I know where he is. You... What? Big Red. He broke into my home and stole my phone. I don't know why, but I am tracking his location right now from my work phone. Todd,
Kaku.
we don't even know for sure that he's the one who broke into your house.
Oops.
You're not really going to pass this lead up, are you?
How are you?
My anger steadily rising.
Hope everything is all
of course
good.
Not. I'll head to the location right away. I just don't want you...
So, he's got a
you.
stud.
No, Todd. Absolutely not.
At the bottom of his lip is what it says.
Please. He's threatening my family. I have to do this. I won't do anything stupid.
I would like for him to be smiling normally, hoodie on, strands of hair showing all over his face, biochroma.
A small team of officers
does have a stud on his lower lip. I would like to show that. Okay.
I would be safe as I said goodbye.
Yeah, his bottom lip showing a shot.
My phone to an old warehouse.
Yeah.
But as we neared, the location suddenly disappeared. My personal
yes,
phone
and a piercing.
Transmitting
Yeah.
its location. I began to sweat for fear that Big Red would get away. We reached the warehouse, and the team of officers kicked the door in. I followed shortly after with Hank.
Hope everything's going well for you tonight, Kakuri. Oops. Well, right now, not everything going great, but I hope yours is. It's going all right. I'm doing a stream.
The red blood matched her red hair. A bit behind
I was gonna hang out with the boy, but he went to bed.
For now. But who's next?
I took a shower before stream, so I feel
wasn't
good.
Sure if I was angry or terrified, but I knew what the message meant, and I
He
had
went
to
night
right.
night.
The message was a promise that he would kill again, and this time he might target my wife and daughter.
I don't even know what I'm feeling tonight. Probably some Celtic music. I could listen to some more Celtic music. Celtic music. I just feel, I feel so like I don't even know what I want to listen to. The Boy. Yeah, The Boy. Yeah, you know, Nyx. I was talking to him. I was talking to the boy. He is the boy. He is the boy right now. Hopefully he stays the boy. But you never know. The boy. I heard the boy. Just remember, when you stare at the abyss may stare back. Yes. So I hope you're doing well, Tharui. Thank you so much. I do appreciate you for coming in, checking me out, seeing what's going on. I has just been working usually while playing a game. Don't mention the void to a Hollow Knight fan. Avoid the Noid. Actually do and tell them Hornet is void. But I hope your night does get better. Kakaroo, oops. I do hope your night gets better. I really do. I hope everything is going well. I hope that you can feel a little bit better. I am just doing commissions right now. $10 commissions right now. Yeah, I always hope everybody's nights get better. I hope they get some good rest and good sleep and don't have it rough. I know that I talked to Raven today. I saw my mother and she drove me crazy. So, you know. That was the thing. Just not fun today. I was not enjoying myself. But other than that, I got my 8 terabyte hard drive. So that'll pick up my spirits because I get to download all those games that I bought on the cheap. Yeah, 8 fucking terabytes. Lots of storage. Yeah, I'm not going to be sans for storage for a while. And if I ever need the upgrade, well, I fucking already have the storage for it and the capacity for it. So I'm going to be quite a happy boy. So other than that, things have been going well. I mean, I I could rant and rave about my mother being crazy, but I don't think it's necessary. Everybody, if people have been on my streams long enough, they already know how, you know, I love my mom, but I do not want to live with her. And that's why I'm not. She's literally taxing. But we all have our moments. So after these commissions, we will probably be back to regular programming, where I will be doing more comic book stuff. I want to get as much commissions as I can get done, you know, on these nights. That's why I'm not just actively going back to the comic as well. Buys all commissions. No! All my free time, no! I mean, you're gonna have to compete with Nyx, because he has been buying up. Vanished in an instant. Yeah, Nyx has been buying up all the stuff. Him and Heaven have been giving me quite a nice amount of money. I'm like, guys, thank you for the support, but also you gotta save your money. That's goods. I mean, I do appreciate them for being amazing. They have given me a lot of money. They have made sure that, you know, I'm getting closer and closer to my dream and stuff like that, but two people cannot effectively stop me from working at that job. I will need a lot more people to be able to quit that job and to do my comic full time, which is what I want to do. Yeah. Saving money is good. Maybe I could get an investor or something like that or a producer of some kind. Because I know you could get investors and producers, because I'm pretty sure don't producers also give their money or something like that? Or I just need an investor into the comic, which is what what I might have to do. But I don't want to go through major publications, because I honestly do not trust them. I understand that it's the nature of the beast and competition happens all over the place. I just don't trust them. Like, I've also watched a lot of videos of actual, like, comic pros who have gotten their IPs, like, taken and stuff like that. Oh my gosh!
Wow, 6 months already. Purple heart. Purple heart.
Even. I am heaving. So, like, there's been lots of there's been a lots of like stuff of like, hey, they went to one meeting and then 6 months later, something that looked a lot like their stuff came on the market. Or from the people that literally were like, oh yeah, no, I don't know what you're talking about. We saw your stuff. We think we're not gonna have it. By the way, we already filed lawsuits on you to make sure that you aren't gonna move at all with your project. While in filing, we're gonna keep on going with our project and make sure you fail. Goat scrape. Ah! Hello, Goat in chat. How are we today? Well, I'm doing good. I'm gonna soften the like. There's fuzz, and then there's like just random hair. It doesn't look like he has like fuzzy hair. It looks like he has very straight hair. So like, kind of like this. I've been doing good. Nix is probably asleep because he has had a day at work. So I'm not going to. I was like, you need sleep, go to sleep. I will be here when you wake up. But yeah, no, he so like that's the biggest thing of like, I just want to make sure that like if I do, that's why I don't trust publishers, and that's why independent like, what is it called, investors coming in would be incredible. But I need to have content first. Like, I need to have content to have independent investors. Oh, poor boy, hug the sleeping pupper. Yes, yes. He always needs hugs. He is a sweet boy that needs hugs. So, like, independent investors would be amazing for a project like mine. It's low risk. All it would be is just one person on the payroll, and literally it would just be me, you know, just kind of like drawing out the chapter, writing and drawing the chapters. So you're not paying for a full team. You're paying for one person to do this full time. So like, I'm a pretty low risk thing, but if it like had like 2 or 3, like a like editor or like a inker, it would make the project go way faster. But also you have the problem of like, this person is an individual. They make individual decisions. They will always have their own say in stuff. And like, that's the hard part about working with other people and having even small teams or anything like that. Like, it would just make things like slowly more difficult. So like, it's such a balancing act of like getting something you want and wish for off the ground to like even this, it's very difficult because like I'm having to do this all by myself and stuff like that. And like, I also have day-to-day life. I don't just do this. I also, you know, I see my parents and all that. I have a job, a day job. And like, it's so hard. That's what I want to do. I didn't ask it to be easy. I just asked to do it. But also, Heaven, you know that you are a major supporter in making my dream come true. Hey, Carbs TV. Hope everything is going well for you. I don't know. Do you guys want to go spooky tonight? Do you want to go not spooky? Do you just want to listen to the music? Or what? What's up? What you guys want to do? I try my best to help where I can. Well, I just started designing my Sona, so it's good. Ooh, Carbs TV, you've got a Sona? Let's hear it. Let's hear it. Let's hear it, Carbs. Let's get that wonderful. Let's get a description on. Let's hear it. He didn't say what color the hoodie was. I guess, like, probably black or purple. Nikochiba! I don't really have much right now, but it's gonna be a side stripe jackal. Ah, that sounds good. Hey, Nikochiba, hope you've been doing well. It's just a Chiba, I hope she's doing well. Neko Chiba doing well. Oh yeah. Also, my sister hates that song because they made her sing that 1,000 times while she was practicing back when she was singing. In high school. Clyde. Could be half and half. He could be half and half. All right. Sounds good to me, Clyde. Thank you so much for the input. Hope you like it so far. Hope you're enjoying it. Doing all right. Oh, that's good. Easy come, easy go. Nekochiba knows and will not know. Will not let him go. Let him go. Is will not. Oh yes, I like how he's looking so far. Nice. Nice. Buff. And then thank you, Nakachiba. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm here a few hours. No. I hate you. Alright. Select all. Cut. Paste. Alright. There we go. You SOB, you almost fucked me over. You son of a bitch. You almost had me. You almost had me, you SOB. Alright. Beautiful voice. I just want to make sure that this is exactly what you wanted. Blood. Because you're paying for it. It's your money. It's your money. Do what you want with it. And then you do this, and then you go down here, and then whatever. And then hit this. And then you go down here, and you get rid of the sketch right now. And then add a new layer. And then. But thank you guys for coming in and hanging out with me. I do appreciate it. It does make me feel a lot better. I hope everybody's night, evening, or day is going incredibly. Deselect. And now we change this into flats. And then go back up. And you go back down, and then you flats. Go back, because you gotta remember to expand selected area. You do this. Or, and then you do this. Deselect, and you go back up. And you do it up. Where are you? Where'd you go? There you are. I see you. Bam, 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 and then you expand this. This and you hit that. Over here. Pull it.
That the man he thought was his dad was molesting girls, perhaps push Paul down a path towards becoming Paul's only around 25 kilometers or 50.
Let's see. Let's see.
Big Red had stolen my phone, and he was using it to toy with me. He had led me to his victim, but made sure that he would be gone by the time I arrived. Hank called in an investigation team to comb the warehouse and surrounding area for any evidence that might lead to Big Red. "Go back to your family, Todd," Hank said. "I'm sorry you had to see this. I don't want you anywhere near this case anymore." "But the location," I blurted. "We can track him. I can help you find him." "I linked it to my phone," Hank said. "I'll keep checking to see if a location pops up, but I doubt we'll catch him that way. We need to get ahead of him. He's too smart to give up his location on accident. If we follow it, we'll probably just barely miss him like we did this time. But I need to come with you. I need to catch him, Hank. I know," Hank said sternly. "You need to go back to your family, because your family needs you. Please, Todd, don't make this difficult." I turned back to the upside-down woman in the middle of the large room. Dried blood completely covered her face. It curved around her lips and into her gaping mouth, which was frozen in a scream of terror. I couldn't help but imagine my wife's face, my daughter's face, frozen with that same expression. covered in that same blood. I nodded at Hank. Okay, I'll go back. Hank squeezed my shoulder. We'll get him, Todd, I promise. I forced a smile and headed back to a patrol car that returned me to the hotel that had become a prison to my family and I. Big Red's sadistic freedom was imprisoning us. We wouldn't be free until he wasn't. Back at the hotel, I embraced my wife and daughter tightly. My wife couldn't hold back anymore, and she began to sob. This frightened our daughter and caused her to sob as well. I continued to hold them until their tears stopped. Eventually, they found a bit of distraction by watching a game show on the hotel television. But I was checking my work phone, opening and closing the Find My iPhone app repeatedly. I eyed my bag. Inside was a gun. Not the gun I used at work. Hank had not let me keep that. In my bag was a personal weapon, and the second I saw a location appear on my work phone, I would go and do what I needed to do to protect my family. But things didn't go the way I had expected. In fact, things didn't go the way anyone had expected. That night, a location appeared on my phone. It revealed that my personal phone was just outside our hotel room. Big Red was there. I cursed myself for being so stupid. I had been tracking my personal phone, but Big Red had been tracking my work phone. He knew exactly where we were. I jumped from the bed and reached into my bag when a gunshot rang into the night. I opened the hotel room door. It was over. Both guards had their guns drawn. A small wisp of smoke rose from one of the barrels. In the middle of the hotel courtyard was Big Red. He was flat on his back, a hole in the center of his forehead. In his left hand, he held a knife. In his right hand, he clutched my phone. Blood poured out the back of his head and pooled around him, like it had for all his victims. I stared. I should have felt relieved. It was all over. Barry Marshall was dead. But a dreadful array of confused thoughts flooded my mind. Why had he come here like this? He had basically given himself up. He was a smart man who had avoided capture for years. He had escaped a maximum security prison. He had rushed the hotel courtyard to hurt my family, but he must have known he would be shot down. He must have known that there was no hope of reaching us. His dead face bore a hideous, nightmarish smile. I suddenly understood. He was smiling because he had won. I wasn't free now that he was dead. I was imprisoned in my own shame and failure. He had brutally murdered a woman just to get back at me. My name had been written with her blood, and he had known where my family was hiding due to my own stupidity. He had been in complete control, and he wanted me to know that. He wanted me to know that there was no freedom for me, even though he was dead. I thought I could hear laughter emanating from the smiling corpse, and that laughter would follow me for the rest of my life.
You founded your kayak company because you love the ocean.
Oh my
not
gosh,
spreadsheets. We need to
Elise!
hire.
Hello!
Indeed you do.
Elise, how are
Indeed Instagram instantly
you?
delivers quality candidates matching.
Hope everything's going well. Hope everything is going incredibly well. Hope you're doing good. I just can't think of anything that I can listen to because I'm kind of bored. I wish I wasn't so bored.
Howard's character, I forget your name, drove over to the DeFeo house.
I could see Bobby driving over, right, and then like he's
Everything's going great.
for parking.
I just wish I wasn't so bored.
Okay, got parallel park. No.
I just wish I wasn't so bored.
Let me get back in. No,
Look,
my whole
art's
family's
fun.
dead.
Don't get me wrong. I love art. I just.
Hey, Squatto!
Oh, thank
Get
you for
out
the
and make
follow,
sure that I'm not too
Clyde.
close
Oh
to the
my
bumper.
god.
I
I
don't
made a lot
want
of progress because of Bob Ross mindset.
6 inches.
You mean the little
Did you say
trees?
something about your family
Oh
being
man,
dead?
if you want to show me, I'd love to see it, Elise.
The Feo family's dead, yeah.
Please.
All right.
Please, I'm so excited.
You let me park. You let me park.
I would love to see your
25
work.
minutes later.
I would heart
I
it.
love when
I
Guidos
would
do
give it
things.
big hearts.
So the victims were Raul
And then I
DeFeo
would give
Sr.,
it even
43,
bigger hearts.
Luis DeFeo, 42.
I love
and
seeing
4
people's
kids.
artworks.
Don, who was 18.
I
Allison, who was
love
13.
it. I love
Mark, who was 12.
Refrigerated.
And John, who was 9. All of the victims have been shot
I
with
do
a
love
35 caliber
Refrigerated.
lever action Marlin 336 rifle at around 3 o'clock a.m. the night before. And
Also
in fact,
known as the Devil's Hour.
And in fact, that is known as the Devil's Hour because it said that a lot of demons like to be active at 3 a.m. because it's a mockery of the Holy Trinity.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
That's their go wild time.
Yeah. That's when the walls of reality are thin.
Cool.
So DeFeo's parents have both been shot twice, while the children who have been killed with single shots.
I mean,
Physical
she was
evidence
having
suggests
struggles
that Luis
with,
DeFeo
while I told
and
her,
daughter Allison
be
were
more
both
confident.
awake
Merp.
at the time of their deaths, but every single victim
No,
will be lying on their
don't
stomach.
lose confidence.
There
You're
are a couple of mysteries
amazing
that are already
artist.
like, at the very, very top. All right. So this Marlin 33-6C rifle is supposed to actually be incredibly loud.
It's a 30-30. If you know anything about guns, it is a fucking ear blower.
It would wake up the house next door, not only the people inside the house that the shot was taking.
It'd wake up the
place in.
fucking street.
Right.
So nobody heard shots that night. The only report that anyone had was that they heard the DeFeo family dog barking. Right.
Right.
They somehow, however this went down, killed the parents first, and then went down and systematically shot each one of the brothers and sisters without anybody getting up in the middle of that.
Were they shot in the back, or were they shot and then turned onto their stomachs?
No, they were all shot in their back.
Right.
They were obviously, they died while sleeping.
So they, She died in her sleep. Oh, must have been peaceful. No, it was a shotgun.
Yeah, and this, by the way, we're going with the accepted story here.
Right.
This is the accepted story.
Yes, we're just, these are the facts as known.
Yeah.
Or have been decided upon by committee.
So Butch told the police as he was taken back to the police station to be interrogated because he was the only surviving member. So he told police that the killings have been carried out by a mob hitman,
Work meeting.
an old friend of his dad, a
Alright.
guy named Louis
Hello,
Fellini,
Raiders, and welcome.
who, after a falling out a few years
Hello
earlier,
there.
had
Yo,
promised to,
Human, did you
quote-unquote,
check the video?
whack
I don't
Big
have
Ronnie
lots of
and his
confidence,
family.
but
What I
I'm
did
a
like
little
when
bit
watching
goes a long way.
documentaries about
Yes.
about the actual
You
crimes,
got
that
this,
all of the police kept
Elise.
saying like rubbed
You
out,
got
which is
this,
a great time.
Elise.
Like, I haven't heard that phrase.
You don't need
I
my
love that
confidence.
one. Yeah,
They
rub-
kept me
You're
like,
already
yeah, look, next thing
amazing.
you know, it's just like
I also got my 8 terabyte hard drive, so that's news. I hung out with my mom. That's not great news. And you know, it was a day. Hung out with Nix for a little bit. We just chatted.
Euphemisms for hand jobs.
We just chatted. We just chatted. I tried to open the link, but it wouldn't open for me, General. Can you send it to me on Discord? Sure.
Butch says the whole
Thanks,
thing
hon.
happened because he called Fellini a cocksucker once.
Oh, I see. He's like, I'm
That is
not a
true.
cocksucker. I just give hand jobs.
But that's the reason why, like, but it's so funny with Long Island police officers because that's how they talk. Because it's just like
Right.
this big fat dude is just like, because yeah, Butch said that the reason why the incidents occurred is because Butch, well, he called Fellini a cocksucker. And that's just what you do. I mean, yeah, maybe he was a cocksucker. Who knows? You know what
Yes,
I mean?
I
A lot
am
of people
amazing.
cocksuckers,
Yes, you are.
Right? At the same
How
time,
is your
Fellini
mom
was a
doing?
cocksucker,
She's
you don't fucking
crazy.
call a cocksucker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's gonna go over there and give
She's
him a rim
crazy.
job.
So you know,
Well, you ask,
Great.
why was Ronnie not
You know,
there?
the
Why did Ronnie
usual.
not get rubbed out? When detectives asked him why he hadn't eaten dinner with his family as usual that night,
Right.
he said, and this is a direct quote,
My mother was a lousy cook. She cooked up some brown shit in a bowl. It looked like shit and it smelled like shit. Yeah, eat it. I tell you what, it tastes like shit. And
That's
the
what
next
I
thing
would
you
say.
know, guess what? I realized she'd been cooking shit for 30 years.
Oh, well, that will
It's
get
not
you killed.
even a euphemism. You gotta stop cooking shit, Ma. You're ruining these pots and pans, Ma.
Yeah, well, you know, it's got some good nutritional effects there, I assume.
So finally, after, what is it, about 12 hours of interrogation, as interrogations go, not all that long,
Right.
he finally admitted, yes, I killed them. Yes, I committed all the murders. The floodgates opened about his family and about his brothers.
you are
He
the
said,
bestest
My brother's
Elise
is a
doll
couple of fucking
ever
pigs.
remembered.
I often use his name back from
You
day
are
one.
the bestest
I go in
Elise
there,
doll.
And sometimes it's like shit in a bowl.
No.
And there's no toilet paper.
Wrong
These fucking
layer.
pigs don't even wipe their
Going
asses.
to
A couple of
this
times, there
layer.
was even shit on the
You
back
see
of his seat.
this layer,
I don't
and
know.
we're
You're a
gonna
23-year-old
two-tone
who
it.
lives at home.
There was
We're
and
gonna
that was
Jimmy
less than 12
two-tones
hours
it.
after his brothers had died, after he had murdered them.
And they
Right.
are 11 and 12 years old. They were young. And
We're
when you're
gonna
gonna
do
actually, like, I
this.
know it sounds like sometimes people call my characters a bit of an exaggeration, but Butch DeFeo sounds like that, and he is a massive
I should
piece of
really be
shit.
getting
Yeah,
up and
he
ready
is.
for work. I don't want to,
hated
though.
his family.
We don't want you
Yeah, that's
either,
what you,
but,
again, like
you know,
we've said
that's
many
life.
times before, get out of the house.
Get out, man.
18 years old, you gotta go.
That's
Otherwise, you're
life.
gonna end up
Sometimes
like Mr.
you just
DeFeo,
gotta get
murdering
up
your
for
entire
work.
family and saying terrible things about your mother's
Sometimes
cooking.
you just gotta
Which is
get up
very
for
offensive.
work.
So after a full day of interrogation, he finally confessed. He said that he got the idea while watching the Sidney Pollack movie called Castle Keep, which,
Right.
by the way, is fucking awesome. Go
I
watch
could.
Castle Keep. Fucking Peter Falk's in it.
But don't kill your family afterwards.
No, absolutely. No one else would do that.
No, Castle Keep. It's a bit of a romp. Peter Falk's funny as shit in it.
Yeah,
Right.
I love The Dark Knight, but I didn't blow up a hospital.
No, absolutely not.
Yep. And DeFeo told detectives.
Once I started, I just couldn't
My
stop.
memory
It
is
just went
not
so
the
fast.
best, but I'll
Yeah.
remember
And the
that.
gun made a fun
Yeah,
noise.
that you're
Isn't that
amazing and
nice? It's like
stupendous and
Pringles, but with shutting
spectacular.
Your whole family,
I can
once
remind you
start, just
anytime you
can't
need.
stop.
So DeFeo's trial began on October 14th, 1975. He and his defense lawyer, William Weber, who will become more important later on, mounted an affirmative defense of insanity, saying that DeFeo claimed that he killed his family in self-defense because he's sitting there watching Castle Keep, and he said that he heard his family plotting to kill him.
And that was just one of the stories. A thing that's going to be common with Butch DeFeo is that he just throws out 90 stories, right?
Yeah.
Which is what he says later on is it was him building his insanity case. But I also think that he's a fucking moron,
He's
and
so- Yeah,
he just forgot what he was saying.
You actually have to be very intelligent to make yourself out to be insane.
Yeah.
And it's certainly really difficult to try to build a fake insanity defense because people can just see you as really stupid, which is not going to get you out of being a murderer.
Absolutely, because you're supposed to not be able to consciously know right from wrong.
Exactly.
Another story he said is that he was approached by a female demon in a robe with black hands who handed him the rifle while he was down on acid in the basement.
Which that might be true. Wild things happen on acid. We don't know if that wasn't true. I mean, to some degree, you could argue that he was going through an insane mental bout, but it was drug related, and so that might have been a plausible explanation for him to get off in front of a jury. But there's no doubt that he wasn't insane. He was just a total moron.
Yeah, you don't often kill your whole family like if you lose a game of Monopoly to them.
I've
No, I don't, although I
returned.
really wanted to kill my older
Welcome
brother quite
back,
often
General.
growing up because he was quite a cheater, and
Welcome back, General.
Boardwalk is still mine.
Which one?
Eric, the eldest.
I
Yeah.
see it.
And I don't like him very much whatsoever when it comes to playing Monopoly. He was a cheat, and there's no doubt about that. But that's fine.
So the court psychiatrist, he says like, all right, yes, this guy has been
Thank
doing
you.
a lot of heroin,
Also, I posted it.
acid.
Did you
but
post
at
it in the
most,
Discords?
He has antisocial personality
Or did you
disorder.
just post
And
it?
Antisocial personality disorder
Post some music.
doesn't mean you're insane. It just means you're an
Ah.
asshole.
You're a dickhead.
Yeah,
Yes.
you're a dickhead.
Ah, you did
and
post it
so-
in the Discords.
But you know what? They did say, like, yes, he was aware of his actions, but to Butch's credit, he did everything he could to prevent these murders. He knew that he was gonna do it. His
Because
parents.
he's literally been threatening.
Thanks, hon. I'll
for
check it out when I
years.
get a
Like,
minute.
They
Yeah.
have said this for a long
Yeah.
time that he was always like this. He was a troubled kid. He was always the one getting deeply into trouble. Like when you watch one of these documentaries called The Real of Amityville Horror, they all said the same thing about Butch, is that as soon as they heard the news that the whole family.
I love that my community is growing like that. That's so cool. That's so cool. That they talk to each other, hang out with each other, send music with each other, chill out with each other, talk about circles with each other, have a persona or whatever, you know. You know how it goes. That's so cool. That's really cool.
family was dead, they're all like, "Oh, Butch did it."
Right.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he had always been like this. They were like, he was
It's a
always very dark
society.
and always, he just didn't give a fuck. He
That
was a
is really
sociopath.
sweet.
A
Yeah,
year
no, yeah.
before the
That you
murders,
guys
the whole
really,
family, well, not the whole
you
family, but him and
guys
his
make
parents
this
went to go see a
community better and
psychiatrist in
better
Brooklyn,
by
and the
just being
psychiatrist
yourselves.
told his parents very bluntly,
Oh, thank
he will
you.
kill
But
you
it's
one
not
day.
just
If
me.
you do not
It's
admit him
it's
and
all
get
of
him help,
you.
he will kill you.
It's the people that come in every few times to say, "Hope you're doing well."
Around the house.
It's those people
really,
that
I
come
don't
in
mind him so much killing
that,
his
you
father. I
know,
think
is
every
like,
boy
"Oh
wants
man,
to
I
kill
really
their dad
love
at some
your
point,
art," and then
especially
they're
if their dad acts like
gone.
Terrence
Then
Howard
there's
did
the
to his
people that
son
come in
in the
every
show
day.
Empire. Very mean to that poor gay boy. Leave him alone, Terrence
And
Howard's
then
character.
there's
I don't
those
remember the
people
name
that
of.
hang out
Now,
and just
so
watch
the
my
story is
art.
too is that, you know, I guess
Love
we're going
them
to go more
too.
to the alternative versions of the DeFeo family murders, but a lot of
Like,
what they say
without
is that the
them,
reason why he
you
even
know,
killed his mom and dad is that he was just, you know,
it's
he
very
kind of flipped out
difficult.
and he killed his dad. But the reason why he killed his mom, the goal was to just kill his dad.
Great
And
people.
the reason why he killed his mom was
You
because
know.
she had a gun too. You're talking about a whole
Good
family
people
that's literally
that
armed,
just chill
right?
out in the
Ready to
shadows
fucking
that
kill each
watch
other.
me.
And
You
honestly,
know,
if
I
you would do
love
a
them
lineup and you
too.
would cut off their heads and just show their
Great
torsos,
people.
the exact same amount of chest
You
hair,
know,
including the mother.
they're
You
so
can't tell them
kind and
apart. I mean,
sweet.
these are just Neanderthal type people.
Yeah. Armed against each other,
Right.
not armed against intruders. Armed
There's the
against
people
each other.
They're
that,
living
that
like
are
the
very
character- like the
loud
movie
and
The Thing.
bolsterous,
They're
and I
all living like
love
the
them
scientists in The
too.
Thing. They all have guns pointed at one another, and nobody knows who's going to snap first.
And the other thing,
The lurkers
about,
are always
Butch moving out, you
appreciated.
know, we say like, yeah, he's 23, living at
You
home.
know.
He tried to move out.
I know
He
they
tried
don't
to
like
leave,
being
but
called
his
out, though.
father
They
just
hate it
fucking
when they get
cajoled him
called
into
out.
coming back. He
They
disabled
hate it
his
when they
car.
get called out
He cut off,
when they
you know,
when
he
you
also cut
peel
off his
back the
allowance
curtains or you
because
turn on the
that was
lights
other
too
thing they said
quickly.
about Big Ronnie
They're like,
is that he was he was a piece of shit, but he was just one of those
Like,
fucking
no.
assholes that beats his
We're
family
in the
and then
shadows.
just
We're,
showers them
we're
with
not
money.
here.
It's
And
exactly.
thinks that it's
Do not
okay.
look behind
Kim
the
Jong-un,
curtain.
Kim Jong Il, and Kim Jong Un did in North Korea. You kill half the people and you give the other half some nice gifts, and then people are like, "I guess I'll be friends with you."
Yeah,
Because you got
They're
it.
like, no,
And
stop
so
it.
that's the DeFeo family. And,
Our kink is not
about
to
a
be
year later-
acknowledged.
And again, that is just the accepted story.
Right.
Again, we're gonna say that again. This is the blanket, you know, Butch. This is the storyline that Butch killed the whole family, and then he went to jail for like 1,000 years. He's in jail he got convicted, guilty of murder, and he is still alive and in jail right now.
And this is, in my personal opinion, this is where the true crime horror. It's where it ends.
Yeah.
But this is such a terrifying case. Can you imagine you're just a 12-year-old boy and your older brother comes in and shoots you in the back as you lie on your stomach? It's very tragic, and the victims are the children, you know, the parents. They seem to they bred a murderer.
Well, they said that the mom was just as abused as anyone else.
Right, I'm sure.
The mom was very much trapped, and it was said that Ronnie actually did very much love his mother and was very close to his mother.
And you're gonna watch that in later interviews with Butch DeFeo. Is that he felt the one thing that he felt conflict about was the deaths of his brothers and sisters.
Right.
That was the thing that he looked at as he obviously has no explanation for why he did it. There's many other explanations. There are alternative explanations.
They
we're gonna
go to
through
sleep
next episode.
early. It's
But
okay.
you can see him struggling with why they also had to
Bro,
die.
You know, as a person
my
who
neck
has
hurts.
ADHD,
Well,
such
then
as
go to
myself,
bed.
Occasionally, your brain just doesn't
Fucking
stop you
mercs.
from going. And
Then
then
go to
after
sleep
when it
early.
finally does stop, you're like, I just ate an entire
early.
pizza, which is not
If it
nearly
wasn't
as
for you,
bad as
God,
killing
this
your entire family. So you get the feeling his brain was
precise
just
group
like,
of
at no
people
point
wouldn't
did
have
he-
a place
did
to
the
be
stopwatch
like
go off
this.
and be like,
So
I don't
thank
know
you.
what the kids live.
In terms of a
Early
carbless
Lamau.
diet, that is just as
All
bad
right,
as
sleep
killing the
well,
family.
straight
I'm sorry.
bags. Well, thank you. Well, you know what?
So now
I
we're looking
mean,
at though.
I'm
because
just
I'm a person who does
I'm just a
believe in haunting
warm
activity,
body
and I believe that
that
this is
encompasses all of Twitch
the
chat.
event
You
that could
know,
definitely
these
create
wonderful people wouldn't have
something
met
like the Amityville Horror
right
House.
without
Is there
me.
a specific name
But
for this kind of
also,
haunting, this sort of like shock trauma that occurs?
I wouldn't be
Residual.
streaming
This
as
is a
much as I
residual
do,
haunting.
hanging out with these
But
wonderful
You're
people.
going to hear claims that this
If it
was not a
wasn't for
residual
them
haunting, that
sticking
this was a
around and
demonic
just being
haunting,
like,
which is that
man,
an entity
he's so cool.
was inside of
He's
the Amityville
so
Horror House,
chill.
which basically made Butch
Thanks,
do
you
the
two,
crime.
and you
Yeah, and
do.
made it
All
possible.
right.
So this is where
You get some good
the
heckin'
mysteries kind of
rest
happen.
now.
So let's start right now.
You
If
get
it's
that
true there
heckin'
was a
rest.
demonic entity in the house, it is possible
Get that
was the
rest that
entity
gets you
that gave
sleep.
him the gun. That was the
I
entity
think
that
I will
kept
finish
everyone
this,
asleep in the
and
house.
then I will
and
work on
basically
comic book stuff
fed
tonight.
itself with the negative
I haven't worked
energy
on it in a bit, so
of
I'm
the
gonna work
crimes
on
it
it.
created.
As so Ronnie DeFeo, he was sentenced to 25 years
I'm gonna
to
work
life.
on that comic book
was serving
right
consecutive
after I finish
sentences,
this.
So he's guilty. 2 weeks after he is pronounced guilty, George Lutz, his wife Kathy, and their 3 kids moved into the house on 112 Ocean Avenue, still furnished with all of the DeFeo's furniture, save the bloodied mattresses. It was 13 months after the murder in December of 1975 when the Amityville Horror would begin. All of the information that follows is from either the Lutz's personal testimony or the book by Jay Anson, The Amityville Horror.
Kathy, you know how you say I never do anything right? I just got us a great deal on a house on Ocean Avenue, Kathy.
My whole life, I've always wanted to live in Amityville. Oh, it's so nice and it's classy. That's what I like about Amityville, is that it's classy.
That's right. Who's the man?
Oh my God. How much did you get the house for?
They're giving us $5,000 to move in.
I can't believe it. We're making money. I can't believe that. That's a good. Oh, what a good husband. Oh, this is nice.
So,
have a great day, y'all. Love you.
The Lutzes knew all about the DeFeo
Stay awesome.
and they
I just
had a
woke
little
up.
family meeting beforehand, and they had said like, "Hey, is everyone cool with this?
Right?
Are we all gonna be able to sleep at night? Pretty much,
right?
And they all
Hope you
said,
having a
like,
great
no, we're not
night.
superstitious
Hi,
people.
Kitty.
We can
We'll
handle
go to sleep at
this.
least.
We're getting a great
Get some
deal
good rest.
on this.
Hope your
because it
dreams
had
are
a
beautiful and
boathouse.
amazing.
It was right next to the water. It had a swimming pool. And it was a beautiful
They should have felt really weird. They should have felt really weird when the daughter was like, "I can't wait, mother and father."
Just immediately starts menstruating. I mean,
the plates and fucking dishes start sliding all over the kitchen.
I will say, if you're George in this situation, you do feel like the world's greatest dad and husband. You got a great deal in the house. Your wife is happy, and there's no doubt that your children are like, "Oh, we're going to a haunted house? Absolutely, of course. I love you, Dad." This must have been a great time for him.
Yeah, well, but according to the Lutzes, the paranormal activity began almost instantly. As they're moving in, they had a dog, Harry. He was tied to a tree. The dog tried to hang itself within the first hour by jumping over a fence while its collar and chain was still attached.
But the problem was that the first thing that happened is that Kathy Lutz was taken over by the DeFeo family mother's ghost, and she was cooking for the dog.
Oh, she was cooking human feces for the dog? That ain't right.
So this is a reading from the AmityvilleFiles.com, which is a fun little website that describes the haunting.
Hi, Katie. You're wonderful.
Due to the property's grim reputation, a friend of George's suggests
I love
the
it.
house
I
should
love
be
it.
blessed
This
by a
community
Catholic
is so
priest.
sweet to each other.
I
It's
was
so
a
sweet.
Methodist, so this was no to me at the time.
It's so
Recalls
beautiful.
George.
It makes
The
you.
rain took off
It
shortly
makes
after
you
we were in
tear
the
up.
process of moving in. I waved.
I
he
can't
waved,
believe I have such
went on in the house
incredible
and went
people.
about
I
blessing.
don't know what Clyde wants for a
When it was
background.
done, I tried to bam. You know, you got to
Fuck.
priest show up. You gotta get a slip.
Fuck, do I not know what he
But
wants
he
for a
wouldn't take
background?
money, you know, he said, "No, you don't charge for this. You don't
Things?
charge friends for this." I thought that was very kind. It was nice.
You ever
for him to
just
say,
think like
you know,
you
and
might
then he
want
said,
things for
"You
a
know, I felt
background?
something
I don't
very
know.
strange in that one room upstairs, that upstairs bedroom." He's like, "Hey, don't even worry about it. We're gonna turn it into a sewing room." And he's like, "That's good, as long as no one sleeps in there." And then strange occurrences began almost immediately.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun.
Background. Oh dear,
it's
I
real
did
fun. So
not
the
think
priest goes
that
in,
far.
and he
It's all
starts
good.
blessing the room. And as he's
So
blessing
I
the
make
room,
basic
he heard a
backgrounds. Let
deep
me show
voice
you
from
some
behind him
examples. Hold up.
Get out. Get
Hold
out.
up. Let me show you some basic examples. So
Get out of
like
here. Just get out.
Yeah, 'cause that's
this
the problem,
one.
because the next thing your Father Ray felt someone slap him across the face, so that's how I thought in my head, like, get out.
Get out of here.
This one?
Get out of here.
No, that's not one.
This is why
This
priests
one?
make terrible real estate agents. You're just walking in through the house. Why are you
This
blessing
one?
every single room? oh, you know, this is the bathroom, this is the children's room. Don't sleep in that room. This is the master
that
bedroom, the
one,
kitchen.
And don't go in this room. Don't go in this
that
room.
one.
Don't you dare go in the
All
bottom
right.
left bedroom.
So when you mark it as a
it's a basic background. You can just say color, and then I'll just do whatever I
We
want.
can't go into one of the bedrooms.
You can just say whatever.
A 4-bedroom? Okay.
The
I'm
priest
gonna
also
lurk,
later
so
developed
as
boils
good
on his
night
hands,
night. It's very
similar
late where
to
I am. It's
stigmata.
okay.
Ooh,
Good
the
night
nails
night.
of Jesus Christ.
It
Don't
also could have
worry,
been
everybody's
herpes.
been going night night.
Exactly.
You're
Kathy also
fine.
said there was an odor
You're
of very
fine,
sweet
no
but very cheap
problemo.
perfume, and she said that she felt the
No
sensation
problemo,
of a
por
woman
favor.
coming up and embracing her from
Get some
behind.
rest.
She said that it was more of kind of
Lay
a
your head
comforting
on the
gesture.
pillow and get
It
some
wasn't really
rest.
something that was threatening. It was. She said it was almost as if there was one mother trying to comfort another.
I'll tell you, the major victim here is Mrs. DeFeo. Even post-mortem, people are mocking the way she smelled. You know, that's just her old perfume. Her food's been mocked, her perfume's been mocked. Everything about this woman is being mocked that makes her good, like a good Italian. You know, they're just like tearing her apart. I think she was a nice.
If you were
Rest
over
well,
45 in
Katie.
Italian,
Katie
if you're
cat,
over 45 in
yo.
Italian,
Get some
eventually
rest.
your body begins
Nip
to
nap.
spoil perfume.
A little nip nap.
I did not know that, but that is also a fact.
Well, George, he once described a sound coming from downstairs as, quote, a whole bunch of musicians going, each one in their own direction, playing their own song like an unorganized musical sound. He also said he also heard footsteps, but when he went down there, there was nothing. And George himself started acting really fucking weird.
This is a really cool storyline. This part of it here with George like slowly turning into a madman.
Yeah. His personal hygiene went way downhill. He started becoming obsessed with fire.
If I had,
He had this
to
idea
choose,
because he could
I
never
would
get
go
warm.
for the first
he was
one you
constantly
showed, the
freezing
one with the
cold, like bone
snowflakes,
deep cold, right? He
or
couldn't handle
were they
it,
snow?
and became obsessed with
They were
being cold.
snowflakes, yeah.
And he
No,
became
I was just,
obsessed with keeping
I
the
mean, it's
fire in
whatever
the
you
living
want,
room
man.
going. And he was constantly chopping
Look,
wood.
I'm
gonna
gonna make
say the way
a
that George
custom
described the
background.
sounds coming from the basement is the way that a white
I'm making
person
a custom
describes hearing
background
jazz
for
the
you.
first time.
Do you want it to be
And I
like
think
in
he
the
might be a little
cold, or
racist.
do you want it
Another
to be
thing, the
like
Lutz children,
not in
they
the
were starting
cold?
to sleep on their stomachs.
Like he was
Which
like, I
is
want
the
it
same way that
festive,
all
and I
of the
was like,
Feos
okay,
were found
add
when they
snowflakes.
died.
Now, did this family know the specifics of the case before they moved in? Obviously, they knew a massacre occurred. That's why they got
Add
the good deal.
snowflakes.
But did they know about the kids
But
sleeping
like, if you
on the
want
stomachs? Did they know
snowflakes, I
about
can
the,
add
sounds from the
snowflakes.
basement?
I don't think they did.
I can be
I
like,
think
snowflake it
all they
up.
knew is that, okay, 6 people were killed here less than a fucking year ago.
Right.
Do you want to move?
Add it
But I
here,
will put
add
it
it
this
there.
way: they definitely could have learned the details in a second because the
I
DeFeo
guess.
crimes were
Surprise
heavily
me?
covered by the
Okay.
newspapers, and
Alright.
the crime scene photos
Fair
were
enough.
already out there. It's all they really had to do was look
I mean,
it
if
up.
that's what you want.
But I mean, this is the
And
70s.
Fair
they
enough.
have had all that information.
You
This
got
is
it,
the
young
70s,
man.
So when you say look it up, it's not on your
Not a
iPhone. You don't
problem.
Google it. You got to go to the library,
Shouldn't be a
microfiche,
situation.
or microfiche it. I mean, it would have been a little bit more difficult to get the information that it is now, obviously.
And then it started.
Oh man, I do
getting
that at work
violent.
way too
They
much.
said that an
I'm
unseen
like, hold on,
force
hold on.
ripped doors from
Hold on.
hinges, slammed cabinets
Just give me a
closed.
moment.
There was
Just give me a
obnoxious
second.
green slime that oozed from the
Like,
ceilings.
they are
would
not
see it
rushing me.
on the
I am
carpet.
just intentionally
and of course,
being.
the most famous thing.
I am trying
the
to make
swarm
them
of
laugh.
insects
Right.
that attacked the family. That
Trying
were
to be
specifically in Dawn's old room.
And what is the significance of flies and insects when it comes to the folklore of demonic possession?
Beelzebub is the lord of the flies, and
Okay.
he is among. Beelzebub is not necessarily Satan, but he is among the higher echelon of demons.
Right.
And so the other weird thing is that George started to wake up every night at 3 a.m., which was the time of the murders. And a 12-inch crucifix, which Kathy hung in the living room, revolved until it was upside down, and it gave off this weird, sour smell.
Which is just a normal scratch and sniff crucifixes because that's just what Jesus smelled like.
Exactly. Put a yuck sticker on it. Who likes them?
Yeah. So, you're saying Jesus smelled like Ted Kaczynski?
Yes.
I'm sure if Ted Kaczynski went back to biblical times, people would be like, "What's your secret? How do you smell so fresh?"
Who's the new Playboy?
Oh my! I want to blow up a building.
Yeah. What's a building?
I will have my revenge. Okay.
Another weird thing is that George tripped over a 4-foot-high China lion ornament in the living room. And when he looked, he found bite marks on one of his ankles. And later on, this lion would reappear in the living room after George had already moved it back upstairs into the sewing room, where the priest got slapped.
Get out.
Get out. How dare you? This is my private room. I'm changing. It's for the club tonight.
Get out.
I was thinking maybe I can wear the red boots, but instead I was thinking maybe, where are you going? When I meant get out, I meant sarcastic. I like it when people pay attention.
I mean, the strangest thing out of all of this, though, was said by the youngest daughter, who said that she had an imaginary friend named Jody, who was a big demonic pig with glowing red eyes. And both George and Kathy reported seeing the eyes at different points.
And I will say this, if this haunting had happened in Wisconsin, Jody wouldn't have made it a fucking week, because Jody would have been bacon.
Jody would have been loved, maybe honored and worshipped. Wisconsin, as much as we eat our pigs, we also respect them for the divine creatures that they are.
And a lot of times you marry them.
Yeah.
You marry them and elect them to be mayor and shit like that. And most of the people, you can trust a pig more than a fucking person.
Oh, absolutely. Porky Pig, the mayor of Stevens Point, Wisconsin, was the best mayor we ever had. Oh, it was wonderful.
So as far as the pig goes, on December 1st, 1976, cloven-hoofed pig-like footprints were left in the morning snow. 2 weeks later, George heard his bed slamming up and down on the floor, but he couldn't do anything about it. He was immobilized in bed by some unseen force. Later on that night, he woke up and saw his wife levitating and moving across the bed. He then saw his wife
you better watch out for those levitating wives.
Saying, the hair was wild. It was a shocking white. The face of mace, wrinkles, and ugly lines. His saliva just dripping from a toothless mouth. And I gotta say, I still was horny.
Exactly. You gotta parlay those things into a different kind of fetish, you know? If you know that your wife can turn into an elderly lady, get into them.
But also sometimes when you're married to somebody for a long time, and you don't even realize it, all of a sudden you're like, you've become old. You know, I don't even realize it. I haven't looked at you with fresh eyes in so long, and I wondered why your chooch wasn't as mystifying to me.
Chooch, huh?
So the next morning, about 28 days after they moved in, the Lutz family fled the house, leaving every single one of their possessions behind.
And what they do, one thing that they will say is that there was an inciting event that they won't talk about is why they left. There was a thing the last night that made them leave, which I think they're insinuating is that, in my personal, from the way the story is playing out, is that George Lutz attacked the family.
Yeah, right.
That his growing hostility towards everyone, because he started hitting the kids, hitting his wife. That's what they say, and that he'd become a completely different person. And I think he attacked them, and they were like, "We got to get the fuck out of here," and then they left. If all of this is true.
Right. So then, once they got a certain distance away from the home, theoretically, the cloud was lifted and everything went back to normal.
No, he just got used to how satisfying it was to hit your family, and so he just kept doing it.
Oh, I see.
So 2 months after the Lutzes left in the middle of the night, a reporter named Laura Didio assembled a group of psychic researchers to evaluate the family's claims. The investigators spent a night in the house, walking from room to room, trying to pick up ghostly vibrations. Didio said it was like a psychic slumber party.
And the best part about a psychic slumber party is that everybody knows who wants to kiss who.
Exactly.
Who's got a crush. And who likes each other.
So at the forefront of all of this psychic slumber party were Lorraine and Ed Warren.
Right.
And these people are among, if not the most famous paranormal investigators in the world. They've been portrayed in The Conjuring.
I'm loving the look of this one. Very
Annabelle.
cool. Very
they claim
cool.
to have investigated over 4,000 cases.
I love the look of all of them,
New England
but
Society for
I'm
Psychic
a bit
Research,
biased.
or NESPR. So Ed and Lorraine, they brought in this group of parapsychologists. All of the parapsychologists were all affected in different
when I
ways
come to
in the Amityville Horror House.
my art.
One of them
I
saw
love
the face
all
of
of
a
my
young
art.
girl and heard
So,
crying and weeping. And during the seance, Lorraine said that there was an evil in the house from the bowels of the earth, not just the murdered spirits. She said, I hope this is as close to hell as I'll ever get.
So, just going back really quick, did the Lutz family call the Warrens to tell them what happened?
No. Like I said, there was a reporter that called the Warrens.
Oh, okay. Oh, yes. DDO.
Yeah.
Yes, and the reporter found out, like, basically through them. Because now you're we will talk about that timeline in the next episode of when the Lutzes decided to start telling people about the haunting and the immediate sort of aftermath of that.
Of course, I think my ones you did are the best.
And what I love about this whole story is that it's a bunch of psychics walking around going, I see a face, I see a face. And then it cuts to Lauren in this documentary, and she's just like, and you know what's like really funny is that I mean, I didn't see anything, but everybody was really reacting pretty strongly.
Yeah, the most they could say is like, yeah, the cameraman, he had some chest pains when he was walking up some stairs.
Very overweight fella.
But meanwhile, it's just a bunch of psychics just walking around and like, there's demons, there's demons,
which is so exciting. I would love to be in one of these houses during one of these experiments.
So the Warrens maintained that the source of evil in the house was there long before the DeFeo murders, and that each person is affected differently by these demonic forces when they live in the house. And when they ask Lorraine, it's like, hey, Lorraine, why is it that nobody else who has ever lived in this house after the Lutzes have ever had any problems whatsoever? She said it's because they weren't open.
Which is the same line she used to get women to be the third with her and Ed.
Right.
At the nighttime, they go to like places like Schlitz's, so they go to cruisers. You know what I mean? And so you mean like some people are just open to certain experiences. Like I see ghosts, but I eat pussy.
Isn't that wonderful? I love the Warren couple.
Yeah, and here's where you're starting to see the veneer crack a little bit. Kathy, she said that they were more open because they were practicing transcendental meditation at the time. And I guess you could say that DeFeo was more open because he was fucking tripping balls constantly.
Yeah. Now, this is one of the differences between residual hauntings and demonic hauntings, right? So this is what we're saying. The reason why all these people, the way you can explain it, the reason why everyone's affected differently is because imagine like a demon in a house. It's like a residual is like, again, it's like watching a projection, right? All of this shit's happening all around you. It's happening all the time, but it doesn't affect you. You can't affect it. You're just like watching a movie.
So you're just watching a ghost play.
Yes, but a demonic haunting specifically, or what's also called like an active haunting or like a physical haunting, is an entity that was never human, that is now here. And basically, it's like we're all operating systems, and the demon is a program, and that it affects the environment and everybody in it depending on what's going on.
I'm gonna add a little bit of purple to it.
If a demon does, let's just assume that
let's add a little bit of brighter purple,
demonic haunting,
because he is.
What would be the motivation for the demon? Is he harvesting the energy? Or
too bright?
It depends on why he was called. A lot of the times when you're talking about if he was called to the house, or she, I don't want to refer to this. If they were called to the house, a lot of times they have a specific purpose, or there's a specific goal, or a lot of times they're attached to an object or a person. So the demonic hauntings, sometimes they're possessing someone, and that's why they're there. And sometimes it'll be like there's something in the house, which you see like in the story that the movie Annabelle is based on. A demon was attached to a doll, and then the haunting went where the doll went.
Right.
And according to this, and Dr. Professor, what's his name?
and
according to Dr. Professor Hans Holzer, he said there was a very specific entity at this home.
Yeah. And Professor Dr. Hans Holzer was America's most famous ghost hunter at the time.
And you must remember that he is both a teacher and a doctor.
Isn't that something? He's both things. I can't believe it.
Both things. So let's hear what Professor Dr. Hans Holzer had to say about the case.
I particularly like this picture that clearly shows a white outline of a horse overimposed over me. Now it so happens that the entity in the house that was disturbed was an Indian chief on a horse.
And what I like
well, actually, Indian chiefs didn't start that until like we brought over horses.
It's the pictures of the ghost. Horses.
It's actually an interesting
fact. It's fun to see the ghost
rides horses.
I think it's interesting.
Well, we've gotten through the Amityville Horror. We've talked about the everything that was said in the book, everything that the Lutzes said, everything that happened in the DeFeo case. That's part 1, and in part 2, we're gonna go through why every single one of that was 100% bullshit,
horseshit.
Well, except for the actual DeFeo murders,
right? Exactly.
Everything that Ronnie said was horseshit. Everything that the Lutzes said was horseshit. Everything was absolute and total fucking.
Great mystery unpeels itself like an.
Oh, that did not sound good.
No place to escape to.
Blooding has been done. Told you at the end of the episode. On this one, we're going to tell you why all of that is bullshit. Specifically, the haunting is bullshit, but the Butch DeFeo murders are pretty suspect as well.
I hope Clyde enjoys the color difference.
Do you believe in ghosts?
I do hope he enjoys this slight color difference, so that it comes off like this.
Ghost skirting around the issue. What I'm looking for
comes
is black
off
and
like
white.
this.
All right, you're shooting for grays.
Yeah,
yes.
I farted myself awake yesterday.
You do a little
so
bit
that was
like
kind
that.
of a haunting.
That's just making sure that you stay alone.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see. It's kind of a different situation there.
This case really disappoints me in many ways because it is true. It's totally horseshit, which we're gonna nail it down point by point right now. Because also, what are you gonna do with the world's most famous ghost story? A lot of people are gonna jump onto the boat. It's like the last boat pulling out of the Children of Men city where there's nobody, where the babies can't be made anymore. It's like everyone's jumping onto the boat to get out of town. Because that's where the money is. The Amityville boat. I'm keeping going with the metaphor.
I gotta do the eyes. Thank you guys for reminding me that I have to do the eyes.
And he's sitting on a pile of coins. So he's like, they're going to Moneytown. But I still heavily believe in ghosts.
It looks good to me.
I think that you're over exaggerating how much money you can make with ghost hunting.
That's the only with writing books about ghost hunting. Yeah. Jay Anson, the guy who wrote the Amityville Horror, made millions upon millions of dollars.
That's one guy. You show me another.
But this is a guy who sat on what was turned out to be the perfect storm of ghost stories. It's got family murder. It's got it affecting another family. It's like all of these things that interest a lot of people. Never mind sitting on the storm that was like the obsession with The Exorcist that had just come out. So it was primed to make money. I was listening to Coast last night, and he had a ghost hunter on, and he was trying to tell people that to not do amateur ghost hunting anymore because he's like, it's just far too dangerous, and you've just got to know. Let the professionals do it. I should know. I got a degree in ghost psychology from Bantam University in Fartsdale, Arizona.
Fartsdale? I love Fartsdale, Arizona. Well, if my house
is Scottsdale.
If my house isn't haunted, then why are there so many damn flies around? That's what I always say. Look to where the flies are, and then you're going to find your ghost.
And for your thing, I would say follow the money. Normally, you always got to follow the money. That's where the conspiracy is. But with you, I would say follow the many open cans of Budweiser and possible just plates covered with peanut butter or what looks like peanut butter, which is probably just fucking feet diarrhea.
You don't know me at all, Henry. It is not peanut butter. And the thing is, when you buy Hormel chili by the can, you're also buying a bowl. So I'm loving it. Thank you.
So Amityville.
Yeah, the DeFeos. So the DeFeo murders, what the accepted story is, or at least if you go with the haunting story, is that there was a demon that came to Ronnie after he watched Castle Keep on TV and told him to kill his entire family. That the Warren said that there was a demon that affected everybody who entered the house differently.
And Professor Dr. Hans Holzer was super excited because he rode that horse, and nothing made him more happy than seeing a ghost freely on the back of a free ghost horse. It's ghost mane weaving in a ghost wind. I like to see it. I hate a real horse.
Oh, real horses are terrible.
Terrible, horrifying creatures. They're big, 6 feet tall. I need a step stool to get on it. Take a car, I said to my professor doctor friends, of which there are only 3.
Ooh, well, that's a lot of friends, actually.
Rick Osuna, author of a book called The Night That DeFeos Died, he said in a meeting that he had with Butch on November 30th in 2000 that Butch confessed to the murders, but he confessed to doing them alongside his sister, Dawn.
Cool. Now, how old is the sister, Dawn?
She was 18.
Oh.
Yeah. So unofficially, it points towards some sort of conspiracy. So first of all, let's go through these certain facts here. We said on the last episode that nobody woke up, saying how creepy it was that nobody woke up during all this. There were 9 shots, but no victims made any attempt to escape, which suggests much more likely, instead of, ghosts controlling the sound waves, suggest a coordinated attack by more than one person. And we've got some footage from Mr. DeFeo right now talking about this exact conspiracy.
Ooh, exciting.
How could one person go through the house and kill 6 people the way they think they were killed? The way they, excuse me, I want to correct myself, the way they said they were killed. You show me how right now.
Well, again, I'm asking the questions. I'm just giving you an opportunity.
You're asking a question, and I'm coming back with you with an answer.
No, but I'm not stating my belief in anything. I'm just asking you.
I'm not saying you believe in anything. I'm coming back with you with an answer.
I don't know.
It's impossible. You're in an 0-1 situation. You and society. Yeah, and I'm going to tell you what. You and everybody else is scared. And you know what you're all afraid of? You know I did this with other people, and you're all afraid to deal with reality, because that's reality, not the coming out of your mouth.
But your explanation is that the other person was Dawn.
I wasn't there, and you're never going to get me to change that.
So it could have been someone else.
Why would somebody else want to do that?
Right.
I'm just tired of you intelligent people like yourself, with all the years of college you got, not sitting down in the lab examining and looking. How the could DeFeo done all that by himself?
What he's giving us are multiple.
Oh my God!
It's completely reasonable, and you gotta listen to me. All right, hey, listen. Yeah. I went out. And I had to get 9 cannolis shaped in a pyramid because it was my sister's cousin's Annalisa's birthday party 2 days from then. Right? So I leave. Yeah. I killed my father. But who knows? Yeah, it could have been my sister Dawn. I don't know. It could have been. I could have swore I saw a little leprechaun head. I went back to that house. It could have been a goddamn leprechaun. I don't know. With wooden shoes. And that leprechaun was so scared by my own goddamn sister. And I was like, goddamn it, Dawn, you scared a leprechaun? Because the thing is, you catch a fucking leprechaun, right? You could shake a gold out of it. And I was like, you fucking just let him kill our brothers and sisters. Our brothers and sisters.
All right, let's just wrap up the interview. This is going absolutely nowhere. I love it.
Well, the story that he put forth, that Butch DeFeo put forth, he wrote in a letter, he said it was cold-blooded murder, period. No ghosts, no demons, just 3 people in which I was once.
So, but you're also looking at, this was during the trial, again, you remember, he was trying to be ruled innocent by reason of insanity.
Right.
Yeah. And so part of his strategy, where Butch thought he was a genius, was that I'll tell them 9 different stories. And so he started with the one story where he did it, and then he included Dawn, and then because the story that he said here was that Dawn convinced Butch to do it while they were fucking getting wasted in the basement watching Castle Keep, because their parents wouldn't let Dawn move with her boyfriend to Florida.
Yeah. Oh,
which is the most Long Island of excuses to kill your parents.
If you have a daughter and her name is Dawn and she's 18 and she wants to move to Florida, let her go.
Yeah.
She's a Florida girl.
All women named Dawn belong in Florida.
Beautiful, beautiful, luxurious Florida.
Oh, yeah. So Dawn supposedly convinced both Butch and a friend of theirs to commit the murders.
Can you imagine being the poor Selly for DeFeo? Yeah, like every morning, every day, 24/7. You've got to listen to that voice. That would be the worst situation. I would hang myself with the first shoelace I saw.
That guy's like first parole hearing where he's just like, I just want to say I know
Time for work. Have a good one. Stay awesome, amazing, all of course.
I killed several gas station attendants.
Of
running the
course.
cord around from the gas station, the machine. I just ran it around their throat, and I killed them because I was mad at the government for how expensive gas was. But now spending 6 months with Butch DeFeo in that cell, I've become a priest.
So the murder, so the murder plan was only supposed to be the parents. That's all it was supposed to be.
Right.
But after the double murder, the friend ran out. And Butch, he was gone. Butch said that he went out looking for the friend, and while he was gone, Dawn, trying to eliminate all possible witnesses, shot the kids in their beds.
Okay, so I was under the impression it was a situation where they all went to individual rooms and they said, count of 3, we'll all shoot our guns off, and they do it all at once.
Well, that's one of the stories.
Okay.
I mean, there's like Henry said, there's 9 different stories going on here.
Okay.
Another thing, but then what happened is in his most recent interview, which we heard that clip from, First Person Killers on the Bio Network, which you know how reputable that is. It's a whole network based on biographies.
Biographies, yep.
He says that he just left, that there was no third person. He said what he said that he left because he couldn't handle what just happened with his parents, and then he left and then came back and Dawn had went nuts, and then he went to go get the gun from Dawn, and then in the struggle he shoots her in the head.
Yeah.
Oh, and doesn't that happen all the time? Typical family tragedy. You leave the house, your sister goes, shoots up the whole family, and you got to pop her in the head. Oh, man.
Well, there's also a DEA angle in this entire thing, because it is also said that it's possible that the DeFeos, that Ronnie DeFeo, Big Ron, was involved in possible some mob business here and there.
Well, the grandfather definitely was.
Yeah, the grandfather definitely was.
We can say they all were, right?
So there was a DEA agent that was staked out outside of the house, and this DEA agent told a journalist years later that he saw a woman exiting the house wearing a hooded jacket and black gloves holding a rifle, and what Butch had said was that the demon had come to him wearing a hood and black gloves,
so
and had given him the rifle.
There was a member of law enforcement outside of the house during the shootings?
Supposedly.
We could argue this man isn't a hero? Is that correct?
Well, he was a DEA agent. He couldn't fucking blow his cover.
I mean, absolutely. He's fucking 6 months deep into a story. You can't stop a drug bust just because some guy kills his whole family.
I mean, I just feel like that would be one of the times where maybe you could break character and try to save some lives.
He's gathering evidence.
Oh, I
without
see.
Impartiality. It's like a documentary maker. That's what cops are like. You watch something going on, and you just need to commemorate it for history.
Right.
You don't stop it.
Yes, that's very true.
Some say that the two, Dawn and Butch, some say that they were involved in an incestuous relationship.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Now,
sisters sliding into on each other, just planning some sweet, sick murder.
They say that Ron killed the parents, Dawn killed the family, so Ron killed Dawn, and the grandfather, who was in the mob, when he showed up at the police station before Ron's confession, told Ron to take the rap for all the murders to keep the name from being sullied any further. He said, take the rap. You take the rap. You're not going to talk about fucking your sister.
Oh, okay.
You're just going to go to jail.
Because that is actually very true. His grandfather did show up to talk to Ron when all the shit went down, and it's just literally just like, hey Ronnie, hey, listen, hey, come here. You know, I saw you fucking Dawn in the pool last summer.
God.
This whole thing's your fucking fault. You couldn't take all of this shit. Listen, I know. I watched you guys look at each other with the special magic. I know you guys had something special. I understand. My sister, how many times I looked at her and I was like, oh, where she swivels them hips. I gotta get up in them guts of my sister.
All right, grandfather, I think you've had enough here. Good God, we're still in a police precinct, for Christ's sake.
Have you guys looked at a picture of Dawn DeFeo?
She looks like mozzarella with a wig on.
Isn't that nice? And who doesn't love mozzarella? Put some eyes on it. Well, I love that. So this was the point of shame for the family, for the DeFeo family, was that he was banging his sister, not the whole suicide or murder, that the alcoholism, the drug abuse.
I think it would have been way worse if it was a point of pride for the family.
I don't know. At this point, it's the least offensive thing that they could have done, I think.
And a criminologist said in court that he believed that the bodies were moved and that more than one weapon was used.
Oh.
Because they did this sound test because we were saying before, what was the name of this rifle? You know, Marcus.
30-30 Marlin.
Exactly, because it's tattooed on your belly, all the lists of guns that are fun to shoot in Texas. Yep. Now, the sound test by the police basically said that this gun is so huge, it could be heard for like 4 blocks. And nobody heard anything at night, so it does suggest a different gun. But then also, what about demonic power, Marcus? I mean, there is a part of me that truly wants to believe that the house was haunted and that a demon lived there named Munkashunka from the Shiny Cock tribe, and that he was making him kill the family. I would love that to be true.
Yeah, I mean,
so I'm still fighting for it.
That's the narrative that I'm sticking with. I definitely believe the house was haunted. Something compelled him to make these, for these events to occur. Something compelled him, and I think it was a demon.
Absolutely not.
It was Mama's dookie stew.
Right. The dookie stew pushed him over the edge. The demon was sick of smelling it. She had to be murdered.
Well, that's the
These
first.
white men don't know how to make proper casserole. We'll teach them through acts of horrible revenge.
So on November 21st, 1975, DeFeo, of course, found guilty on 6 counts of second-degree murder, and he was sentenced to 25 years to life. So that part of the story is pretty much wrapped up. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say that's a hoax, but there are definitely a lot of, that's where the seeds of demons were planted.
Okay.
And I'll also put it this way, where jail did great for Eddie Gein, where he gained weight and looked super, like, healthy and shit, Ronald DeFeo looks like a rat now.
Oh, he looks terrible. Probably getting better food. But in Ed Gein's situation, he went to an institution, which is where DeFeo wanted to go.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Everyone wants to go to an institution.
Right.
No one wants to go to the penitentiary.
Right.
Every day I ask to be placed into an institution. I would love to be taken care of. You know, and that would be so great because a nurse is like a mommy girlfriend. And then she also goes, and if you do your job right, you maybe get a little tug out of her.
Maybe I don't know if it's like a Asian massage parlor there, Henry. I think you're thinking of different institutions. I don't know. I think they mostly force feed drugs down your throat when you want to stay awake.
Gosh,
yeah, but it's 8 p.m., so it's
that's
bedtime.
very pretty.
That's
but
what I was looking forward to cancer because I thought that if you're
really
in
what
hospice,
he
every
would
nurse
want.
is kind of a prostitute.
You just have a different idea of medicine, huh?
I don't think he would like lace in the background. I don't think he would.
Seeds of the Demon House of Amityville.
He might
have already
really
been
like
planted.
lace.
They've been planted by Ronnie DeFeo. They've been planted
I've
by
been
Ronnie
busy
Butch
and I
DeFeo,
come back to
in
wonderful
his
drawing.
defense.
Oh man!
And so
Hope you haven't been too
the entire
busy.
thing happens with the Lutzes. Jay Anson writes
I hope
his
things
book,
haven't been
and this
too
guy's name is
bad.
Rick Moran. He's a researcher. He compiled a list of more than 100 factual errors and discrepancies between Anson's true story and what actually
There's
happened.
so
And
many
Which is
particle
what happens
effects.
when you get a super nerd real mad and jealous of your money, is that you will come straight for the logic of
So
your
many
life.
particle
Just start being like,
effects.
yeah, well, flies wouldn't be there in the
Maybe some
summertime.
night sky.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect,
It's like-
the perfect villain to the paranormal.
Yeah, the dude who wrote this
Probably
book is just
right
looking at this guy and being
here.
like, yeah, bro, we know it's all bullshit.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up. Shut up.
Fucking shut up. Here, here's
Go
$5,000. Guess what?
here.
It's nothing.
Go here.
Yeah. Who's fact checking the ghost hunting book?
Yep. Actually, Jay Anson actually did confront this guy.
Good.
Jay Anson, the guy that wrote Amityville Horror.
I've
did
just been
confront
doing
Rick
some
Moran,
things,
and he said,
but has
"I like to
had
make money.
your
One
stream.
day you'll be broke.
It's all
and I'll be on
good.
an island
No,
in
it's
the
all
Bahamas
good,
with
man.
a truckload of
Thank you
cashmere
for
sweaters."
hanging out with
Which is
me.
also the last thing you want to have on a tropical island.
He's gonna be hot.
I mean, everybody's been
It's
hanging out
gonna
with
be
me,
like-
but you
he's
know what I mean.
definitely gonna be the weird guy who wears cashmere sweaters. No one really knows how he made his money. Was it counterfeit pants or was it demonology?
Just ruining them with sweat and sand. They're
Yeah.
so delicate.
Those are literally. He just put together two things in his head that he thinks are fancy. Island and sweaters.
These fucking Long Island bastards.
It's so stupid.
I'm gonna be out there on my tropical island. Don't you worry about it. I'm gonna get a hot tub, and I'm gonna put my own hot tub in there. 'Cause you know what? I hate how the ocean's cold.
That does sound like fun.
So let's just go through all of the shit that these people talk. First of all, the infamous priest, Father Pecoraro, the Get Out.
Get out.
Yeah.
Get out. You're a bitch.
Get out of here.
Quit looking at me. I'm not ready yet. It's bad luck. It's bad luck to look at somebody before he's ready to go out. You naughty. Actually, stay.
So Pecoraro, he confirmed the claims on the TV show In Search Of,
Which,
hosted
if
by...
you haven't seen, do.
Yes.
Go look up all of In Search Of. They are great. It is great. Early 80s, like schlocky paranormal documentary style show. They have a lot of fun information. The Amityville one in particular is very fun because it shows a priest just, like backlit because he doesn't want to be named by names. And so it's him just going like, yeah, I've seen a lot of shit in my time as a priest. These little boys waggling their butts around. Just breaks a man.
Are you admitting to being a pedophile or?
No. I am admitting to watching them though.
Right. Well, let's just get to the demon stuff, please.
I see demons every time I look in the mirror. It's hard to be a priest.
So Father Pecoraro, he said on In Search Of, he told Leonard Nimoy, yes, all of this stuff is true. But in an affidavit while he was under oath, he said that he never even visited the house.
If you lie to Leonard Nimoy, you should be shot in the head.
There we go.
Are you
Look at
telling me
that.
a court of law and
Well,
affidavit
nice
can
that
tell the
is.
truth, but Leonard couldn't?
No.
That's
Leonard Nimoy, the Spock?
Yes.
Rest in peace.
Leonard should have killed him right there on the spot.
He said that this priest said he only
Already.
talked to the Lutzes on the phone.
I'd
He
say
did say,
handsome.
the thing is, I was on
Handsome.
that phone the whole time on the phone. I heard like
Not
another
too-
line pick up.
You know, I just want to make sure that he's got a little bit of handsomeness in him.
Hey,
He's a handsome boy. You know, you gotta make sure that he's a handsome
Go
boy.
back to talking to the person. It's like,
You
hey,
get me.
Ghost. He
You
sure
get
knew how to interrupt a really nice
Wow,
conversation.
look so.
2016
look good.
summer coming. Phone
It
goes
does, it does.
to a line near you.
So the people who own the
Beep it, bum,
houses,
bum.
the house after the Lutzes, Jim and Barbara Cromartie, said
I'm
that
surprised
none
how
of the
fast
damage
you
the
can
Lutzes
draw.
claimed, including the
And
broken locks and
well-meaning
hinges,
in
actually
total,
occurred,
yeah.
and that all of the various hardware in
God
the
bunny
house
boy,
appeared
handsome,
original.
yes.
So they said that
Hee-hee.
all these doors
Hee-hee.
slammed open. They said that all of these
There you go.
cabinets just kept banging,
Blam,
and
blam.
all the
Oh,
shit was
hot damn.
ripped off of the hinges.
Beefy.
But Cromartie
He
said
be
that, no,
beefy.
everything was in
He do be
perfect
beefy.
working order, and this stuff, appeared to be
Beefy
well-worn.
bunny
None
boy.
of it appeared to be newly replaced.
His
Well,
ears
is
are
it possible
covering
that
up a
the
lot of
demon
the
picked
beef.
up after itself? Would that?
His
could that
ears
occur?
are.
I
They're
don't
pretty
believe so.
floppy.
So the claim
They're
made
pretty
by
floppy
Professor
for
Dr.
ears.
Hans Holzer
We're
that the
gonna
entire
save.
thing was built
We're gonna
on an
save.
Indian burial ground was
Guys,
refuted by
we gotta
members of the
save.
Shinnecock tribe. Shiny
cock.
Shinnecock.
Yeah.
Shinnecock? Shinnecock. Was that the job that they did?
He looks like he's.
Don't start this, 'cause
You know
we're
what
gonna
he
get letters.
reminds me of in this position?
No, I
He
didn't.
looks like a
No,
character
it's
from
not
like
Shinnecock.
a dating
Shinnecock. I looked it up.
a dating
I looked it up
sim
and I even heard
where it's like
an actual
the
Shinnecock.
game's got
Right,
really
yes,
good
yes.
reviews
And there is
and
the
you're like
Shinnecock tribe,
I'm pretty
and then
sure
there
it's
is
the
the
pictures.
Shinnecock tribe.
I'm
Right.
pretty
The
sure it's the
Shinnecock tribe,
pictures
they
why this
started in
thing's got
Vegas.
a
And,
90%.
Cock just blinding in the light.
Yeah, wonderful stage
Where's
show. One
that
of the best I've ever
beef?
seen. Really powerful.
Yeah, it says in the book that the Shinnecock tribe used the site of the house hundreds of years earlier as a place to dump their mentally ill and dying. Well, Moran explained
what his
that
name is.
experts told him that the tribe mentioned was
I'll
not from
just
the
name it.
Amityville area at all, and actually they inhabited the eastern tip of Long Island, 70 miles away. So even if there was a burial ground or something like that, the Shinnecock
well, I can
tribe's
believe that.
chief, Straight Arrow
Man,
Cooper, said,
man, this is a really
"That doesn't mean we will
good.
go
This
into
is a really
somebody's
good.
body and capture their soul and control in a
This is a
very
really good
negative way.
one. Oh
That's
man,
just
it's got
not
5
us."
stars.
But they
Oh,
could. I love that he's
Oh,
like,
hang
yes,
on.
we could, of course.
First
We could
character you
possess
meet.
any sort of Italian family, but we would not do that. We would not do that.
Don't worry, I'm the tutorial man.
We will ask you to get out, but also sometimes, I mean, we just bring corn. It's a thing that it's a bad habit we have. We just keep giving white people food. We should stop. We should we should start doing that and then inhabiting them and killing their families.
Yeah, you're just feeding the beast. You're giving it energy to kill you.
Saving
As
it.
far as the demonic
Saving
pig
it as a
goes,
PNG.
remember, the little girl had a demonic
With
pig
you
friend
and
named
me.
Jody
Yes.
that looked into her bedroom at night the demonic pig was actually a cat that Ronald DeFeo used to call the pig because it's just a big fat kitty.
Yeah, and the cat used to look into her window from a tree branch that was right next to her bedroom. So that's that one shot down.
Yeah,
Well,
it was the neighbor's Persian cat. The neighbor, his name was Rufus Ireland. He believes to the
Rufus Ireland.
Now we're done with that
Sounds
one.
like a street fighting character. Street fighter,
Now we're done with the bunny.
Rufus Ireland. Rufus believes to this day that the whole thing was planned, and not a single neighbor heard any disturbance whatsoever from the house during the 28-day haunting that the Lutzes supposedly experienced.
Is it possible the cat did it? Do we know that the cat didn't do it?
The cat didn't do the entire haunting?
Yeah, it sounds like a Persian cat can hold a shotgun.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, yeah, if you duct tape it to its body.
Well, we don't know he didn't do it.
It's that
on the
boy.
Day that the Lutzes claim that they saw the footprints in the snow, records show that there was no snow in Amityville, New York that day.
Yeah.
And the window that
He's a
supposedly
5-star
went up
general.
and down on its own did actually go up and down on its own. It did do it without the aid of human hands, but the counterweights on it were improperly adjusted, and an investigator said that you could make the window move up and down by stepping on a certain spot on the floor.
And it was really interesting because they showed it in a documentary. It's literally like, it's kind of crazy looking. It's a guy just stomping on the floor and the window just shoots open.
Oh my God.
It's like, that's a great way to scare the fuck out of somebody really fast.
Oh, a general.
So cool. Every house needs to have one of those kind of fun trick windows.
The original articles about
He's
the
got a
haunting were actually in
vibe.
Good Housekeeping.
Oh,
I didn't know this.
He's got a
the whole
vibe.
story started in Good Housekeeping, and the original
shows like it's in the front. It's just a ghost with like a sheet over it, like him, like with like a broom and dustpan, like next to it, like a beautiful spread.
Well, that entire article said nothing about human forms, nothing about slime, nothing about demon faces in the fire. All that it talked about was like, well, we got this beautiful house for cheap, and all these people were killed in it, but, you know, we're hearing some strange noises, and we're hearing some banging on the pipes.
Well, this Bun needs some sleep. Working early morning and all. That's okay, Clyde. Thank you for coming in, and thank you for chilling out with us for the amount of time you have. I hope you have an amazing one, and stay positive, stay amazing. Go get some rest. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. Well, I appreciate you because you gave me money.
How many times have you told the story?
Thank you so much.
You embellish some
Do
details.
appreciate you.
You know, in order to make the story more entertaining. You know, that's all the Lutzes were being. They were being fun little vaudevillians.
They were, and when Good Housekeeping comes calling, they're not just, they don't want some boring tale.
No. You got your shiniest doilies, and you got to really talk about all the rape and murder that happened in that house. There's nothing Good Housekeeping loves more than a sextuplet murder that possibly involves incest.
Yeah, where Rolling Stone at the time was the most popular music
It's
magazine,
general.
and if you were a musician,
It is
any,
general.
worth any salt, worth your salt, you're in Rolling Stone.
Yeah.
And if your house is haunted, you got to get in Good Housekeeping.
It
Otherwise,
is general.
Well,
I was thinking
you may
about
ask
not
yourself
doing
the
it.
question, like, okay,
And
the
I'm
Lutzes,
like,
they were just, you know, just regular
might
Long
just work
Island
on
family.
comic book stuff.
How did it get
I don't know.
from them having this hoax haunting to writing a book?
Right.
How did it get from the actual, like, the hoax haunting to the book, The Amityville Horror, and eventually all of the movies that came afterwards? Well, supposedly the story is that the Lutzes contacted Butch DeFeo's lawyer, William Weber, because they felt sorry for Butch and thought that maybe the haunting had something to do with these sextuple murders.
That to me makes no sense whatsoever. Like this is the part of the story that I don't understand. That like I don't know how they got together, but they definitely did. And William Weber is a great example of like a Long Island district attorney. He's like the kind of guy that like he doesn't just like handle witnesses. It's like he would like scare one. Like he would go up to he would like, you know, follow a witness home and be like, "You better watch yourself. Sometimes the truth, you know, comes back and haunts you." You know what I'm saying? Give it a little slap on the face.
You remember you saying you'd be doing comps?
Right.
Well, I mean, it is possible that
Here's
one of the things that I think about Amityville it is very
I've been doing
possible
comms
that
this
there
whole time.
was
I'm
some
very
sort of residual haunting there.
maybe
I think it
I
had to
will
have
do
been.
something
I
else
think
for a
that what
second.
happened in that
Just
house
do
and what they
just
were
to do
talking about,
something
I
else.
think there
Just
was
to
a
be
seed
like, I
where
need
all of this came
I
from.
need
There
to
definitely
be
was, like that Good Housekeeping article. They're talking like, okay, yeah, there's like some
need to be
bangings, there's
me.
some, you know, strange noises.
I
Like
need
it's
to be
kind of,
me.
you know, it's kind of creepy. And I think that Weber got a hold of the Lutzes.
I've just been
Weber
doing
was
comms
already
this whole
starting to
time.
field book
I've been
proposals.
doing
People,
comms for a
publishers
few
were already
days,
coming
so
to
I'm
him
just like,
saying, hey, this
you
DeFeo
know.
thing, because true crime always sells, and
Let's
there are
see,
publishers coming to him saying like, hey, you know, like we need to get into this DeFeo story, and
okay.
Weber
So
starts
that's
hearing
what
about
that-
like, oh
that's
shit, the
where I
house
left
they
off.
used to live in, there's some kind of a haunting going on here. He gets together with the Lutzes, and DeFeo and Weber actually said in 1979 he said that he visited the Lutzes 9 or 10 times, and they stayed up until 3 in the morning getting fucking wasted on wine and concocting the story that would eventually become the Amityville Horror.
That's a
Which is
fun
actually
night,
a
though.
very, it's a very, very smart move. He saw 20 steps ahead, and he was like, "We can put together this fucking." It's like it's like, yeah, you guys had a little bit of a ghost. Let's say like, how many ghosts, right? Yeah, you say 1, huh? But let's see, maybe 25. Right? Now that's selling books. That's moving units. And so he starts to understand you tie a family murder in with a haunting. That is just money, 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 money. Everyone's gonna flip out for it.
Yeah, it brings it to that next level. It gives it a final exclamation point on the story, that's for sure.
Yeah, and he also, in his kind of defense, he also wanted to kind of use this stuff in his trial with Butch DeFeo. Like, he wanted to try, not necessarily use like the paranormal stuff, but he wanted the whole Amityville thing to be in the public consciousness when he started going for DeFeo for his appeals and things like that.
Did they bring up the demons in the courtroom?
I don't think they ever brought up the demons.
You gotta bring up the demons in front of the judge. You gotta do that.
He did tell the story of the hooded demon with black hands on the stand. That was one of his stories. He's they tried. They really tried, but the problem is that Butch was too dumb to be crazy.
Yeah, isn't that sad?
Yeah. And what Weber did that was actually kind of genius was he brought crime scene photos from the DeFeo murders over to the Lutz house and showed them like, okay, here is Don's room. And like you can see in Don's room, you can see in the crime scene photos that there are a lot of flies around. And the reason why there are a lot of flies around is because the bodies were left in a Long Island household, in a sealed Long Island house for 48 hours. Of course there are going to be fucking flies everywhere.
I thought you were going to say they were left in the fly room, like most Long Island houses.
Most Long Island houses have the fly digesting room.
Right.
Absolutely. Of course, the cocoon room. But you know what else is? But the Lutzes, the way he played it out is that the Lutzes would look at these pictures, and Weber would be like, "You see these flies? You remember seeing any flies?" And the Lutzes, now fucking hammered, are like, "Yeah, there were a lot of flies, right?
Right.
There were a lot of flies." And so they started building the story up. And the other one was that they saw these. He showed them the picture of where they had fingerprinted dusted the door leading to one of the kids' bedrooms. And Lutz looked at it and he's like, "Green slime. Man, that's some crazy green slime. We should have seen that. I bet." Did you remember seeing green slime? And then all of a sudden, Miss Lutz is just like, "Yeah, of course it did. Yeah, green slime. Yeah." And they started building it again.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And it doesn't help. I mean, I'm sure he came with a bunch of flies in his pocket, and he had green slime in his back pocket. He was just rubbing everything everywhere.
Thank God I keep all those frogs in the house.
That's the only way to get rid of flies.
Well, at one point, there was a split between the Lutzes and Weber, the lawyer, because Weber wanted to give portions of the book proceeds to Butch DeFeo. And the Lutzes, they decided to not work with Weber, and they hooked up with Jay Anson on their own, which proved to be a bad idea because Jay Anson made fucking millions on this book, millions upon millions, and the movie deals after that and all that. The Lutzes, they got about $300,000 from both the book and the movie. And Jay Anson, he as much admitted to the screenwriter of the movie that most of it was made up. He said it's up to the reader to decide what's true.
Him and Oliver Stone.
But then there was an even more nefarious a little bit more of a nefarious angle, so it wasn't even a moral choice. It was the fact that basically they had met with Weber, and what they did was they got really drunk and they created this story, and then they sort of conveniently forgot that Weber existed. And then what Weber tried to do was horn in and try to get 5%, like send them a contract being like, and if you want, I can handle your book deals for 5% of the contract. The Lutzes, in one storyline, the Lutzes say to him, like, we don't actually no thank you, we don't want to we don't want to give you money, we don't want to take money from this, and then turned around and we're like, we don't have to give a percentage to anybody, like we can just do this all on our own and make all this money just for our pockets.
The finances of this this is the most horrific part of the whole episode, of the whole two-parter. If I hear the word 5% ever again, I'm done with the whole thing. So they're all just a bunch of lying schmucks.
Oh yeah, all of them. Yeah, they're all line shrugs. Jay Anson, like you said, he had that great line about the cashmere sweater.
The quicker I do these comms, the quicker I can get back
they just all
to.
of them. But the Lutzes, to their credit, they stuck to their
The quicker
story
I can
until
get
the
back
day
to
they died.
doing
They both said that they saw
the-
shit, which makes me
the
believe
comic.
they did see things. I think that there was some sort of activity
really
going on in
passionate
the house. It just wasn't all the trumped up horseshit. Because even
very
Lutz says, you
passionate
watch them get
about.
a little contrite when the movie comes out, because they were talking about how, like, there was an interview with George Lutz where he was just like, when the fly scene came out in the movie, in the original movie, where the priest is assaulted by the flies,
Yeah, that's my favorite scene.
It's a great
It's
scene.
awesome.
I will say, he acted like those flies were a lot stronger than flies are.
Yeah, he was
fucking
instinctive.
love that
I mean,
scene.
they're just flies. Come on, come on, buddy. They're not gonna bite you.
No.
But
Unless they're
Lutz
horseflies.
was saying he was watching it and he was like, I feel guilty watching this, because he's like, I wish that it had been more like what had actually happened, because what had actually happened was truly scary. And I do, because there's certain things that they say. I think that there's also a psychological angle. I think he did started acting more hostile towards his family when they moved into that house.
Right. I mean, and once you open up your mind door to the idea that your residence is haunted, I think you're going to start seeing things a lot more. You're just going to be more aware of your surroundings.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say that something was going on there, but it is nowhere near as intense as, like, I think something did go on there that disturbed this family.
Yeah.
But I also do think that they trumped it up for financial gain.
It was like last night I was sitting in the house and I just got done watching a movie and I was sitting in the dark and I was sitting here and I just I felt watched, you know, and I felt like my skin was getting all goosebumpy and I was like, somebody watching me, and I started walking around the house like trying to see if anybody was like looking at me, and I felt like eyes on me. And it was unlike anything I've ever experienced. And then I looked out the window and it was just a Mountie doing a house check.
I didn't know that they did house checks in Canada.
I didn't know either, and that's what he said.
Wow.
I hope he was a Mountie.
Yeah.
Because then he took a semen sample, which he said was a thing that they do in Canada, that they do it to outsiders. They're trying to collect as much American cum as they can because we're stronger.
Oh, I didn't know. Yeah, well, that makes a lot of sense. I'm sure it's at some lab right now, and they're doing a lot of research on your semen.
I think.
Yeah, he just ate it.
Oh, he ate it. Oh, so he was kind of the vessel that he was carrying it. I see. Okay, well, maybe he throws it up then when he gets to the precinct. There's no doubt that he's a real Mountie. You were not molested.
He had a hat on. No shirt.
No shirt. Okay. Good.
All right.
So one of the things that people point towards as far as the Amityville horror story goes is that there is a very famous, very creepy photograph of the Amityville house. It is at the top of the stairs, is because the Warrens, when the Warrens and the team of parapsychologists and the reporters came in, the Warrens set up these automatic cameras that would just take pictures every 5 minutes. And these photographs sat in a file at the Warrens' house for years and years and years until this secretary was looking through them. They were going back through the Amityville case. She was going back through them, and she said that every time she came to a certain photograph, the secretary was pregnant. She said every time she came to a certain photograph, the baby would kick. But every time she said the baby would kick.
It's going to be a little demonologist.
His instincts are good.
Oh, wow.
And so she brought out the photo and she looked at it very closely. And you can see, it is very clear. It is not an optical illusion. You can see a face in the back, like kind of in the background.
It's pretty haunting. Like you look at it, it's a really scary little picture because it looks like a little boy and he's got his middle finger up.
Oh,
which is really weird.
Wow.
And his eyes are glowing, and it's very, very creepy. But unfortunately for paranormal investigators, the most likely explanation is that the face in the photo belongs to paranormal investigator Paul Bartz.
Paul Bartz did it?
Yeah,
every single time.
Get out of here, Bartz.
You can see another photo of Paul Bartz that night, and they're wearing the same shirt. It could also be Paul Bartz's nephew, a 10-year-old boy who happened to be tagging along that night.
Were they wearing the
that
same?
is quite possible.
Well, or it's a ghost. So I think it's a ghost.
Though. I like this quote a lot.
Yeah, this is from Paul Bartz.
The image in the photo you mentioned does resemble me, and I know that Ed, now deceased, and Lorraine went on record, including national television, stating it was a ghost. Because I have great respect and admiration for them, I will say no more on the issue, and I will allow the legend of the most haunted house in America to continue.
That's a great response.
Yeah, it really is.
Rose Red,
Listen,
that's
guys,
the most haunted place in America?
And I know that's my nephew,
Or is that just also just writings from our good friend Stephen King? Mr. Steve.
Every single time. You can just paraphrase me like this and just do the brackets on either side of it, and it will always land on being like the legend of the most haunted house in America is continuing. I mean, it's like all weird, like
yes, brackets and weird quotes, and they're gonna have to work hard to make that go in line with the legend, but they can do it. They can definitely do it,
and they will.
Yeah. So
Amityville Horror House has a lot of asterisks.
Yes,
like all over the whole story.
Yeah, it definitely does. And I think people say like, okay, there was it was a big hoax. They made some money. What was the harm in that? I think there is a harm in faking a story like this, and I think.
Well, I don't know if there's a harm in faking the ghost story.
I think in faking a demon story and faking a devil story, there is a harm in that because it implants into people's consciousness. It continues this bullshit idea that the devil is an entity, that the devil is out to get you. The whole evangelical movement that sprouted out of the 70s and 80s, a lot of that stuff was rooted in stuff like The Exorcist and especially the Amityville Horror, because it was built as a true story. And suddenly, before the 70s, the devil was something like, oh, the devil, yeah, whatever, it's not real. But after that, the idea of the devil being an actual entity and something for the evangelicals to fight against, and the rise of the Christian right, you can trace a lot of that stuff back to The Exorcist and the Amityville Horror. So there is a lot of harm in these people making
of the character of our dark Lord and Savior, Satan himself, the master of illumination, the destroyer of ignorance. That is what they're trying to do.
Yes.
They're trying to say again and again that we're evil. How many times I tell people in Toronto that I am a Satanist and they look at me like I'm some kind of crazy person.
Do you do it with your shirt on or off?
Well, mostly off, and I'm yelling. I will say, but again, because I told them, is that because lies can't stand the hairy back.
That's a good point. I love this story. I'm happy that it stuck around. I'm happy that we have a powerful Satan that has to be defeated by evangelicals. It's a good time. But you're right. It did get Jimmy Carter elected.
Yes, it did.
But that's okay. I think it was a wonderful movies, great entertaining books.
Yeah. They were in the books, and in the whole haunted house demon genre in novels in the 70s and 80s that came out. There's a lot of really great. Like 666 is a really cool demon novel about
The Haunting of Hell House. Is really Hell House is really good. Anything Richard Matheson's really fucking good in terms of horror novels. The movie The Haunting is great. I love this whole, again, yes, I'm the same exact way. I like every single one of the films in this genre. If it is a demon haunting a house, I love it.
Yeah.
Keep them coming.
Even 13 Ghosts had its moments.
I got a bunch of pretzels in my bed.
That is the saddest of all.
Yep.
You know what?
I do
too.
You got pretzels in your bed?
Yeah.
Oh.
I washed my sheets last night, so I'm a real bachelor. Come on over. I got clean old sheets. I also watched a movie last night called The Canal that was very good.
Very good. I saw a film a little bit off topic. It is not about demons, but it is about aliens, extraterrestrial.
Let's see.
Henry, I didn't mention all of your anti-German sentiment. You Polak.
So did she spill the beans on your grand? Very wet. And I heard something off in the darkness. I was just sitting there, I was watching some Daredevil on silent because I like to imagine that I'm deaf watching a blind show.
You're right.
And I heard this thing. I was like, I felt again what I was saying before. I felt like I was being watched. So I took out my iPhone and I asked, "Who goes there? Who is there?
Yeah.
Answer me.
Right.
Show yourself." And then I recorded this. I'm gonna play it for you now.
You're a jackass. You're a jackass. Everything you say is a lie. Nobody wants to hear it anymore. Henry, we're on to you.
Evidence of ghost farts.
Ghost
Man,
farts.
This episode's
Yeah.
gonna be great.
This is exciting. So we've heard Henry's lies. Let's get to some real mysterious recordings.
Oh, yeah. And by mysterious recordings, we mean recordings from space. We mean recordings from here on Earth. We mean recordings from shortwave transistors. But we're going to start with mysterious recordings from the ocean.
Ooh, exciting.
Under the sea. Under the sea.
Well, that's not so mysterious.
That's Sebastian, the funny crab.
Wow.
Oh, just come here and get him on my plate. Crack his bones.
Henry, you can't eat Sebastian the cartoon crab.
I just want to eat that lower half of Ariel, the Little Mermaid. You know what I'm saying?
Henry, you're looking great. What's your diet? Oh, mostly Disney cartoon characters.
So we're going to start with the most famous. We're going to start off with a big one. We're going to start off with the most famous underwater sound that has ever existed.
Ooh.
The bloop.
Bloop.
And how we first heard the bloop is that in the 1960s during the Cold War, the Navy installed a top secret network of underwater microphones called hydrophones to listen for the movements and transmissions of Soviet nuclear submarines.
And really, that just became the first podcast hosted by tuna, which is kind of fun.
Also, everybody knows how communist parliament members like to bathe together.
Oh, of course.
And where they're bathing, sometimes when they're naked, that's where they share their most secret stuff. So.
You know, there was that show Fear Factor, and at no point did they have him drink the water after a Russian bath. I think that would be more disgusting than any animal or bug that you could put in your mouth.
Yeah, because technically it becomes vodka.
Is that how they make it?
Huh. So this system was called the Sound Surveillance System, or SOSUS. And so after the Cold War ended, the U.S. Navy turned this technology over to civilian and private companies so we could still make some use of this SOSUS thing. And several times during 1997, a sound reverberated throughout the ocean. It was dubbed the bloop. The sound rises rapidly in frequency over 1 minute and was loud enough to be picked up by multiple sensors located up to 5,000 kilometers apart.
Wow.
Yes, and it was one of the loudest underwater sounds ever recorded, and over the next few weeks, similar sounds were recorded by another system, and the sound suddenly stopped and have never been heard again.
I feel like the bloop, if it was a person, it would have a mustache and it would just belch after every sip of beer.
How dare these microphones come and disturb my peace? I am trying to watch the cricket game. How I love cricket. It's like baseball, but shittier.
And a large monocle the bloop has.
They're merely recording the sounds of my thighs moving back and forth. I
Henry,
wish that they would respect my privacy.
are you the bloop, Henry?
Yes. Well, let's hear the bloop sped 16 times because it is a very long noise. So let's hear it sped up 16 times.
Wait a second. Isn't that just Ben's mother getting out of the tub?
Oh, well, that's a funny joke about my mom getting out of the tub. Thank you for that, Henry.
Well, it does sound organic in nature. It does sound like it could be some sort of animal, either something very, very large or something that is just very good at making sound. And coincidentally,
like Michael Jackson?
That where he is. Kind of bloop walks down there.
So the NOAA says that there's no way that it was man-made. And no creature on Earth has ever been known to exist that has made this sound, but the location of the sound is said to be within 500 miles of the lair of Cthulhu.
It's called yeah.
Really? Riley.
And Riley or Rie, we're gonna get fucking shit from all these Lovecraftians.
God, we're gonna get so much shit.
Rie is characterized by bizarre architecture likened to non-Euclidean geometry. Norwegian sailor Gustav Johansen, the narrator of one of these tales during the Call of Cthulhu, describes the accidental discovery of the city. A ghost line of mingled mud, ooze, and weedy cyclopean masonry, which can be nothing less than the tangible substance of Earth's supreme terror. The nightmare corpse city of Rie. Loathsomely redolent of spheres and dimensions apart from ours. He's just so mad that there's no circles.
Yeah, absolutely.
How many circles?
What is it, non-Euclidean?
Non-Euclidean.
Non-Euclidean.
Yeah,
sort of what they do to the girls over there in the Middle East.
What?
They cut off their clitorises, Marcus.
Oh, non-Euclidean.
Yes, non-Euclidean. That's different.
No,
That's different. Non-Euclidean just means weird as fuck.
Oh, I see.
In geometric terms.
Oh, okay.
Euclidean geometry. You didn't pay attention in high school, did you, Ben?
I didn't go to high school. Well, I was smoking weed out of an apple and out of a pear.
Well, the recording does sound like an animal, but it sounds
I hope
most like an
General
animal when you
enjoys
speed
what
it
he
up
sees.
16 times faster.
Which is how most people listen to the sound, because literally the original sound is what, like, it's like a couple of minutes long, and it just goes like.
Well, I've actually got the sound here.
Oh, so I don't have to do that.
No, you don't have to do that.
No, I liked it. I was about to inject you with morphine and put you out of your misery.
No, you don't. You don't need to do that because we've got it right here. Here it is.
Is this Trent Reznor?
Hello, little bunny. Hello, little bunny. He's just a big bunny.
Sounds like me getting off a leather
He's
couch.
just a baby. He's just a little baby.
So what most people don't hear
He's
this.
my
And
little boy.
in my opinion,
He's
this is
my
much
little boy.
creepier than just
Yeah, it sounds like something that Argento would have used. It sounds like the band Goblin. Yeah, very, very Suspiria-esque.
Oh, yeah.
He's a big
and now at this point, I really can't help but think of getting a spatula and helping you off of this leather couch as you try to suffer miserably to get up and get off of it as you're naked.
I just gotta take a shit.
Can't you all see?
I just gotta take a shit. I am a part of this couch now.
Yeah. Gotta get you off that couch.
So a lot of people said it's a big whale. Some people said it's, of course, Cthulhu. Many people jumped to that conclusion. But in all actuality, what it probably was is that it was a gigantic ice quake that cracked off of an iceberg, which calved off of the Antarctic ice sheet, making it a consequence of global warming, which is much more terrifying.
Much more scary. And the thing is that the NOAA to a year ago that we're seeing new shit.
Something falling from the sky. This is on May 19th, 1997. And that's the weird thing about all of these sounds, is that these sounds are captured in the 90s, but there haven't been any captured in the last 15 years or so. Not since
the 90s. Everybody was getting wild and having fun and partying and raving, and now people are settling down and having families. It's 2015, man.
I agree. What happened in the 90s? NSYNC and Backstreet Boys. Music you had to dance to. Music
Nick Lachey was a person that we forced to be famous that now continues to be famous.
That's right. Probably a victim of pedophilia.
Here's an audio sample of the slowdown. And yes, Ben, you are correct. Probably a victim of pedophilia.
Thank you very much. That's when the bloop just mounts her.
Slides it right in there.
You want my bloopy?
Bloop's about to shoot.
Oh yeah. He was the star of The Quarterback. I've been on a flight for 12 hours, so give me a little break.
That's the sound of your mother getting back into the tub.
Yes, thank you, Henry.
Well, Julia, the slowdown, and the bloop are all attributed to ice quakes and the eventual death of the Earth as we know it.
Great. So good to hear.
But the upsweep, this last one, we actually have no idea what this one is. This was captured in 1991. This was one of the very first ones that we captured after Sonus was turned over to private companies.
I will say, if you run a New York City subway and you see a girl in a skirt and you give her the upsweep, that is a misdemeanor sexual assault. So do not do it.
Crowded on the train is no validation for sexual assault.
Even if you are the bloop. And how did the bloop get on the train? Who gave that thing a Metro card?
Exactly. He's 20 stories tall.
Right.
That's a thing that I'm already still confused about, that he's supposed to be so big.
Ma'am, you are telling me the bloop sexually molested you.
I'm not really sure. It was kind of a big walking, talking building, and it was kind of killing a bunch of people as it was going, but it just also somehow managed to take one of its weird fingers and swipe it up my butthole.
We're going to catch this goddamn bloop.
Like, here is the upsweep.
That sounds like monkeys.
There are no monkeys in the bottom of the ocean.
You may tell me ain't no monkeys down there. I know they got a hidden jungle.
They don't? Where would it... How would it
down
be?
Down in the ocean, you wouldn't believe the kind of secrets they have. They use shells for money. I've met a merman.
Yeah? What did he tell you?
He said all sorts of weird things.
So let's move to the Earth. Let's move above the ocean for more mysterious recordings and more mysterious sounds. This one is a phenomenon that has been reported quite a bit since the 1950s, and this is a very strange one. It's a low-frequency humming or throbbing or rumbling sound, and it's heard mostly indoors in rural or suburban locations, and people say that it gets louder at night.
What I would also say is that there is sound technology that our government has been working on that basically they use it for billboards and shit. They had developed it for military use, which is beaming sound localized into people's, like into an area into people's heads. The advertisers are already using it.
Yeah.
And I could imagine that something like this is a possible either test or fuck up of some sort of military weapon.
Well, it's actually already being used in the protests that we saw in Baltimore and in Ferguson It's a high frequency sonar sound that is very specific, pretty much to
like me and Henry both tested it to see who could actually if both of us could hear it, because I can hear it. It's very low, but I can still hear it. Henry couldn't hear it at all.
Well, I'm too wise.
Yeah, well, you're too wise, or you can't hear it over you chomping on one potato, two potato. You're slamming those potatoes down.
I'm not eating as many carbs these days.
Oh, that's very good. You guys know a one potato, two potato, right?
Three potato, four?
No, it was a restaurant that was all over the malls in the Midwest. You didn't grow up in Wisconsin?
I grew up in Texas.
We're not neighbors in Wisconsin?
No.
Henry?
No, we don't know your references. No,
okay.
No, your cryptic, weird references. We don't know Nikaha or Nina Hay or any one of your weird fucking Indian chains that you had in Wisconsin.
One potato, two potato. Great potatoes.
The thing is, it's so funny. It didn't even have a one potato option because it's Wisconsin. It should have just been called two potato, four potato.
Well, you got to go back.
We ain't serving potatoes and no odd numbers around here.
There's even numbers.
No, that sounds about right.
The funny thing about the hum is you can't actually capture the hum with conventional microphones. It's something that really only the people can hear. It's that weird of a frequency and that low of a frequency is that a lot of times these frequencies can't be picked up, just like you can't just record on your iPhone and actually pick it up.
Right.
At least one suicide in the UK was reported as a result of the hum. The guy left the suicide note. He was like, I can't take it anymore.
Really?
And this hum thing is actually very real. It has been it's really strangely very deeply in the UK. It's deep in like Scotland and England, and it's also been in New Mexico, but I just think New Mexico's all fucked up.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting. It doesn't go away. It's sort of like the exploding noises linked to UFO sightings. There are many people I was researching all this about mysterious booms, and they were saying the same thing where UFOs are seen, and then what'll happen is like an earthquake type noise will have like this. It's like a vibration. It's not an actual earthquake, but you feel it in the air. It's just like this boom.
Yeah.
Like it's happening like a sonic boom, but something way more local.
Well, they call them mist poofers. And
Mist
it's
poofers?
mist poofers.
That's a porno I used to have.
They call them mist poofers, and we know that they're not sonic booms because they have been reported, like the Iroquois tribes, but like ancient tribes of North America have reported these booms for decades and centuries.
And you know that Native Americans talk to aliens because that's why they always draw the guys with the big heads and the big eyes all over everything, because they keep wanting to be like, they should know. I met a goddamn alien once, and these white people will not listen to me because I keep wearing this feather hat. But you know I'm not allowed to leave the reservation unless I've got it on running square.
Chief chews a lot of lard. I wish you wouldn't curse.
Well, the other weird things about the hum is that usually only 2% of the people in any given hum area can hear the sound, and most of the people who can hear the sound are from ages 55 to 70. Another bizarre age thing.
Right. So they just feel like they're losing their minds. And I guess to some degree they are.
Yeah, they really do.
Man, I don't trust anybody over 30.
That's right. So do they deliver specific messages in the hum, or is it just the tone?
Here, I'll let me play. This is an approximation. They did a whole episode of Unsolved Mysteries, and one of the people that heard the hum on a consistent basis was able to make this approximation of what the hum sounded like to him.
It sounds like this. It sounds like
Henry, did you just? I didn't hear that. Did you hear it? I didn't hear it.
Of course I heard. I hear everything.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, frequency weapons freak me out because I know they would fuck me up bad, man.
Yes, they would.
That's what I say, man. I'm immune to them. I'm human 2.0, dude.
No way.
I don't have wisdom teeth, and I can't be affected by noise weapons.
I'm fucking human 2.0 because I can hear all the fucking frequencies, man. I'm going downtown.
Vulnerable, man.
Aren't we way past 2.0? Aren't we at like 6.9 or something? 7.0 something?
I am not.
2.0 is like 1998. Yeah.
All right. This is the hum, or at least an approximation. And that's what was known as the Taos hum in Taos, New Mexico.
It's kind of nice.
There are also things that are linked to it at the same time, which is there are a lot of people who have experienced the hum had exposure to industrial equipment, high pressure gas lines, wireless communication devices, which is just fucking everybody does, electrical power lines, electromagnetic radiation, and also the mating calls of midshipman fish reverberating off of ship hulls and buildings.
Well, this is a recording of the fish right here.
Freaky.
That's horny fish.
Yeah.
Midshipman
Yeah,
fish.
I got pretty hard.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Here's one from England that is very, very bizarre. Some people say, like, the city council came out and said, like, no, this is actually just a guy sharpening a blade in a valley.
So, nothing to worry about here. Just a fella sharpening a blade in a valley like he always does.
Well, I just want to warn everyone again, do not enter Blade Sharpening Valley. It is very dangerous. There are men there. They're sharpening their blades.
I'm not going.
But this was actually captured. They said that's why it was so loud and why it was reverberating throughout the entire town. They said there's and I have heard like farm equipment and groundskeeping equipment sharpened before, and it does sound kind of like this. Don't look at me like that.
Of course you
I grew
have.
up on a fucking ranch. Of course I've heard this shit.
Henry, do you hear these sentences he says?
I would say that is one of the more normal sentences he said.
All right.
Yeah, it's perfectly logical. Okay, I didn't grow up on the ranch itself, but I grew up around ranches. My fucking papa had a ranch. My grandfather had a ranch.
Okay.
I worked on a ranch before I came here.
All of the field workers, and they raised him as his own and taught him their songs. And he learned about their folklore.
Yeah. Okay. Well, different upbringings. I was eating at the 1 potato, 2 potato while you were busy listening to people sharpen farm equipment.
And I was in Oxford writing my treatise on theology.
Oh, yeah, how'd that go? All right. This is, anyways, this is
I need 10,000 for 20 minutes. Catch. Damn. You do. Fucking scary.
Welcome to Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
I thought we were going to see dinosaurs, but it's just a bunch of English people sharpening knives.
Even better. Very interesting.
It's the sounds that are important. We spare no expense.
So close.
Indeed. Sort of an elephant type sound
so
there as
close.
well. Very interesting.
The
next one we have
is
comes
so
from
close.
the Soviet Union, which we did cover this a little bit on an episode long ago. One of our very first episodes. But more than 40 years ago, the Soviet Union decided that they need to dig a real deep fucking hole in the ground.
That was just because they need to keep their people busy.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think your army is too big when you just have a whole brigade dedicated to digging holes.
What do we have men do? I don't know. We have many drill. Put the hole, big hole.
How would we do?
I'll probably be the first to know when you have it.
That they can dig, right? And guess what? Funny joke, Yarpik. We go, we pop them in the back of the head with a bullet, we leave them in the hole.
that is a funny Russian joke. I love that. Sergeant
you have any
Smirnov.
extra toilet paper I had diarrhea 2 weeks ago and I lost the one roll we're allowed to have every month.
Oh my God, Sergeant Yakov Smirnov, I have a feeling you have a history in comedy if you just can get out of the USSR, my friend.
Well, the drilling stopped in 1994. The hole was over 7 miles deep.
This is just stupid. 7 miles deep.
And I cannot believe we as Americans let Russia dig the biggest hole in the world. That is Americans' job.
That is Americans' job.
From America.
Well, we were going to the moon, beating them in the space race. They were just digging holes.
We go up, they go down. Go up, they go down.
One of our many cultural differences.
Well, what their goal was, they wanted to penetrate the Earth's upper crust and sample the warm, mysterious area where the
Operation Just the Tip.
Yeah, exactly. This sounds like this is all a euphemism for Putin having sex.
They wanted to find out what was going on where the crust and the mantle intermingle in what they call the Mohorovik discontinuity or Moho.
Yeah, you do get the feeling that like Khrushchev was trying to tell his sergeant to go get laid for the weekend, and he just took it all very literally, and he was just like,
"Go put drill in hole."
"Will do then." Okay.
You never said stop. So we kept going. Also, I heard that the rents in Moho are really skyrocketing, and it's such a shame because that neighborhood used to be just so cool.
Artist friendly.
Yeah. So after going a few miles down, the drill started to spin wildly. Yes. And a Dr. Azakov, he was quoted as stating authoritatively that it has been shown that the Earth is hollow. Extremely high temperatures were experienced, much higher than expected at that depth. Usually 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit is the temperature that's quoted. And finally, they lowered microphones down into the hole. And we are lucky enough to have a recording of an episode of Coast to Coast in which Art Bell explores this phenomenon. Should we just listen to what Art has to say about all this?
Please, he's the best.
I think so.
Now, I've got a clean copy of it now, and I warn you, this could scare you. Here's the email. Dear Art Bell, I just recently began listening to your radio show and could not believe it when you talked about the sounds from hell tonight. My uncle had told me this story a couple of years ago, and I didn't believe him. Like one of your listeners who discounted the story as nothing more than just a religious newspaper fabricated account. The story about the digging of the hole and the hearing of the sounds from hell is very real. It did occur in Siberia. My uncle collected videos and audio tapes and so forth on the paranormal, supernatural. He passed away fairly recently, but he would have loved your show. He let me listen to one of the audio tapes that he had on the sounds from hell in Siberia, and I copied it. He received his copy from a friend who worked at the BBC. It took me a while to find it tonight, but attached is that sound from my uncle's tapes. It's not the greatest quality, but the sounds are there.
Let's get to
I was
it, man.
very hesitant to send you this, as the sound bothers me to listen to. I suggest that if you do play it on the program, warn listeners in advance so they may have the option of turning the radio off for 30 seconds while it plays. It has always haunted me. To those who discounted the Siberia sounds from hell story, it is true, and I, for one, wish it wasn't. Rick, listening from Chicago.
Started.
And so I submit now the cleaned, a better copy to you, and I warn you, what you are about to hear is very disturbing indeed.
Hey, Joseph, come over. Everybody, let's wave at Stalin. Oh, there he is. Hey, how you doing? How you doing, Mr. Stalin?
That's not bad. As far as Russia goes, that's a fairly peaceful sound.
I mean, admittedly, it is terrifying.
Yeah, they nailed it.
Yeah, whoever put that together, I mean, absolutely nailed the sound. I mean, if I would imagine what hell actually sounded like, very close to that.
Yeah, it sounds like a fun.
It also shows a lot about the Russian temperament that they all just began dancing to it.
Yeah, kind of interesting. Art Bell, holy Lord, that guy.
So that was Art Bell. That was his. That was Art's setup for it. You know, that was Art's commentary on it.
Unbelievable.
Of course, we know that Art Bell is not the only host that Coast to Coast has had throughout the years.
I will say this: we can admit he's the slowest talking one.
4 hours every night to fill.
Every night he's got to talk slow. I love Art Bell. I mean, Art Bell's my favorite, but George Norrie. who also hosts Coast to
I
Coast
never
AM.
actually listened to Coast to Coast. It might actually be
Absolute
interesting.
best entertainer who's ever existed.
How do you think George Norrie would have introduced the sounds of hell from Russia?
Now let me ask you a question. You ghost down in hell. How hot is it? Is it too hot to handle? What is the exact temperature that you're experiencing in hell right now? Now, the phenomenon of black-eyed children is something to behold. We're cutting here to Marianne Regilcutty, all the way from Edmonton, Ontario.
Wrong tape.
Oh, wrong tape.
Well, that's amazing. Great George Norrie impression. I think we should start including a Hail Art Bell.
Hail Bell.
Hail Bell.
Okay.
He's a legend in the field.
I hail Norrie. People talk shit about George Norrie, but goddamn, I love him.
Oh,
he asks the dumbest questions on any. That's the problem. Is he just asks the dumbest questions.
Well,
being like, these black-eyed children, do they also have adult supervision?
Well, you want to be careful on the playground. Well, I mean, to be fair to George Norrie, the subject matter is occasionally relatively goofy, and he wants to ask serious questions about ridiculous things, and then that'll make him come across as a bit of a goof.
Now, if the Earth is hollow,
right?
How big is the inside of the hollow part of the Earth?
We got a radio show.
We'll be right back with more from Last Podcast after a word from our sponsor. This episode of Last Podcast on the Left is brought to you by Loot Crate. For less than $20 a month, you can get 6 to 8 items of gamer and pop culture licensed gear, apparel, collectibles, unique one-of-a-kind items, and more. Make sure to go to lootcrate.com/last and enter the code LAST to save $3 on any new subscription. Previous crates have included items from franchises like Star Wars, Marvel, The Walking Dead, Legend of Zelda, and a hell of a whole lot more. This month, Loot Crate invites you to join the cyber revolution with an assortment of cool tech-themed collectibles from a wide array of franchises like Terminator, Borderlands 2, which is one of my favorite games, and an exclusive t-shirt you can't find anywhere else. So be sure to go to lootcrate.com/LAST and put in the code LAST to get $3 off of a new subscription and get some cool shit in the mail every single month. Now, back to the show. So let's move off from the Earth and let's go out into space.
This has been a perfect progression of evolution from the water to the land, now to the space.
Now off to space. So let's talk about the Cassini spacecraft and the rings of Saturn. Now this is really fucking cool. I really like this sound. What this is that this is a recording of the electromagnetism that is coming off of Saturn's rings.
Now, what I like about this too is also apparently this spacecraft was sent up by professor scientist Tom Waits. They sent up there because he's looking for new sounds.
Yes.
All right. This is the Saturn radio signal. So fucking cool.
That one is very interesting. And what's the speculation on what it is?
Some people say that it's alien speech. They say that it could be an alien transmission out, but that is just the Earth actually makes a similar tone. Right. The electromagnetism of certain planets do actually give off certain noises if you have the right equipment to read it.
You talking about the seas of free energy that surround us all 24/7 that we should be tapping instead of serving the oil companies and the fucking the power industry? Circumstances, military industrial complex.
Well, now you're just throwing cliche sentences out there. We'll be discussing this free energy phenomenon. Henry mentioned it before the show, and I can't wait for a good full episode on free energy.
I will congratulate these scientists with strapping microphones to everything.
Oh, they're nailing it. Just put a microphone on it. You never know what it's going to pick up. Is that Celine Dion?
Well, this next one, this is one of the biggest microphones that we've ever built. It's called the Big Ear. And the big ear, this was something that was funded by Ohio State University.
Oh, please tell me Mel Brooks created this and it actually looks like a big ear. Sounds like something straight out of Spaceballs.
So what this does is that the big ear looks for radio transmissions from space to Earth. And this one is real, and this one is actually fascinating. This is the signal. Dr. Jerry Amen, he heard the signal. It lasted for a total of 72 seconds. This is the signal that he heard.
Damn.
But the reason why it was called the wow signal is because when that thing came through, Dr. Jerry Amen, who basically, when he saw the printout, he circled it and wrote wow next to it.
Wow.
Yeah, because that, if you translate that signal into actual numbers, then it's the only time they've ever seen an actual string. Like, they actually saw an actual string of numbers that could be interpreted as an actual signal of extraterrestrial origin. That it's not just random numbers. It's not just sound waves or radio waves bouncing back from the Earth to the Earth. Like, this is something they actually trace the signal to the northwest of the globular cluster of M55 in the constellation Sagittarius near the Chi Sagittarii star group, but there are no planets or stars in that area, which might point towards it coming from an actual spaceship.
So as a scientist with years and years of education, wow.
I mean, what the fuck else do you got? Indubitably!
Indubitably, that's what a scientist would say. But
He wanted to call it the holy shit signal.
Yeah.
It's not, it doesn't work for papers.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Wow.
Unfortunately, they've never been able to get this signal back.
It really did.
They bounced back and forth.
Yeah.
Because apparently it also kind of measured out to. It seemed like a response to a signal they had just sent out. Because constantly, like, people who work for SETI and our government are just beaming radio waves out into space to see what we get back. And this is the first one that was recorded. The thing that was different about this and other things they collect is the fact that it was a radio signal.
Okay.
A lot of the times, it's like, that's kind of our problem. Now, SETI and people that are looking for intelligent life in the universe are starting to think, well, maybe they don't got fucking radios. Maybe they don't do radios. Maybe it's microwaves. Maybe it's another type of energy. Maybe they communicate using radiation. Like, they have to start broadening their perspectives, but they're just not smoking enough weed over there.
Yeah, well, if it's microwaves, then they also have Totino's pizza rolls, and I'm down with that. This is a George.
Thank you, Ben.
Thank you, no problem. This is a George Norrie question. It might be stupid, but math is the universal language. Is that what it is? Is this math talking?
Well, what they actually received is that it's very possible they only received part of the message, because 72 seconds, it goes as far as the Earth's rotation, because 72 seconds, you can start seeing some numbers. You can start seeing some things that can be translated. So at 72 seconds in, the 72-second window is very significant, because the way the Earth rotates, 72 seconds in, at the beginning of it, they start getting some numbers here and there that they can translate. 36 seconds in, that's where they get the wow signal. That's where the signal is strongest. And then as it goes out, the signal starts getting weaker again.
Right.
So we only got part of the signal. There's a gradual increase. So the wow signal is actually the only confirmed sound that we've ever received from deep space. And in 2012, on the 35th anniversary of the wow signal, the observatory beamed a response from humanity containing 10,000 tweets.
Oh, we're sending them tweets?
We're sending them Fallon packets.
Oh,
so they can go and read all the dumb games that people write that they want fucking celebrities to play.
I love it when a celebrity smashes an egg on her head.
Oh my god,
that is humor.
So last of all, we're gonna come back to Earth, but we're gonna stay with broadcasts. We're gonna cover number stations. Number stations are something that in particular that I love. Like, they are fascinating recordings. These are shortwave radio stations. Sometimes they just broadcast out numbers. Sometimes it's Morse code messages. But the thing that remains about number stations, they were mostly used, at least the theory is that they were used during the Cold War to transmit messages to spies. And we have dozens of shortwave recordings, and not a single one has ever been decoded.
So
you know what's very interesting is that they could talk about this system of shortwave radio messages to spies possibly could have been used as early as World War I. Because what they do is the shortwave radio, the way it works is that it doesn't take a lot of energy, and the signal can travel for very, very far. And what they think they do, again, there is no fucking proof that these do anything, or what these are, or what it is what purpose number stations serve. But there is an idea that they use what's called a day code, a daily code,
also called a one-time pad.
The idea is that it can only be translated that day, and so they're unbreakable messages.
Right. And these are very real. These are, documented and all true. It is also safe to say if you see Marcus Parks with his earphones in, don't ask him what he's listening to, because it's just going to be like...
Actually, I'll tell you exactly what I listen to.
Gosh.
This is, I have a 4-disc set of... of recordings of number stations. I love listening to them. It can be a little maddening sometimes, but it is also kind of a form of meditation for me, because you can listen to these things, you can get into a zone, and you can really go to some sort of otherworldly place. Here, let's listen to one right now.
1 5 7 2 8 1 5 7 2 8 1 5 7 2 8 1 5 7 2 8 1 5 7 2 8 1 5 7 2
President Kennedy is turning down Daily Plaza.
And that goes on for like another minute and a half.
That is.
I think that lady gave me a fake number.
Isn't that ridiculous? I've been playing that lottery number this whole damn time. Nothing's happening.
Yeah.
And it's definitely what Lee Harvey Oswald was hearing right before he popped Kennedy in the head. Or was it Prescott Bush?
It's very possible, because these things could, like the Russians had number stations.
Yeah.
The Americans had number stations. The Chinese, the Cubans, the English. The English were very well known for them.
But also, they will not claim them.
No.
So no one will claim which one to who belongs to who, or what belongs to what, and no one will say what it is. And it's just this. It's this thing where that's the ultimate secrecy keeping mechanism. Is you just let it be out there and be like, well, nobody fucking understands it, so what does it even matter? Nobody, they don't know.
Okay, okay, Chancellor of Germany, the job is done. I blew Richard Nixon. Oh, what's that? Oh, it was a 7. I was supposed to kill Richard Nixon. Okay, well, I sucked his dick. So I
sucked his dick so hard last night. I'd be surprised if he wants to go to war anymore.
Yeah, I thought it was odd that you requested that, but
well, a lot of these voices are synthesized, especially that one that you just heard. That kind of like the Stephen Hawking thing, where you can just type in things. But some of them actually use live readers, but it's usually women that do the reading. Sometimes it's men, sometimes it's children. This is one this is a woman reading. This is known as the Czech lady.
So disturbing. This might be very disturbing.
Yes, Mr. Johnson, this is your favorite spy here. Is it possible to make the voice a little bit less fucking creepy? Because it's really difficult to focus on my job. I am terrified over here.
Literally just, my skin, I'm covered in goosebumps.
Right, it's just, I'm not even listening to the numbers at this point.
Well, usually the transmissions begin on the hour or half hour, and you know those notes that you heard at the beginning, that boo-doo-doo-doo-doo, a lot of these number stations, they will continually transmit just those notes. A lot of them just have a few notes that they transmit over and over and over again. And a lot of people say that those are placeholders. They just have a placeholder that will continually do that. One of the most famous placeholders is called the buzzer. Now, the buzzer is, it was first reported in like 1982. It may have been on air since like 1976. And it goes about the buzzing sound goes about 25 times every minute, and every once in a while you can hear a voice speaking in Russian, reading out some sort of code.